We are live. Okay. We are live. Welcome in. So I am multi-streaming. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. Happy Tuesday? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Happy. No worries. Happens to the best of us. I mean, I was thinking it might be Tuesday. So welcome in, and good to see you, friends. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday so far. I know I am. And let me check my levels here on Video Ninja. Okay, looks like I have pretty good levels on Video Ninja too. So, all right, we're good. So, looks like we already have 2 guests waiting in the queue. That's excellent. How do we start the kick pool? So, to start the kick poll, you can do it a couple ways. If you hit the live goal, 25 boxing gloves, or if you're on YouTube, if you send 25 gifts, while a person is in the guest box, then that will start the early kick poll. If you post a jellyfish on the TikTok side, then that removes the guest immediately. So, and if you are guaranteed for me to want to read your chat messages, I got a lot of things going on and it gets really, really busy. So if you are guaranteed that I read, if you want to guarantee that I read your chat message and you want a response, send a gift on TikTok with a message attached to it, or go to YouTube and put up a super chat, post a super chat. Because those are like right in my face. I can't miss them and I will read them. But otherwise, it's catch as catch can. I may or may not see your chat message. So today's Wednesday, and we are looking for evidence that God is real. So that's what I'm looking for. So if you are in the guest box, please be at least 18, a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. And also, please have evidence that God is real. And then we'll talk about it. So let's make sure I'm good at Twitch. Over on Twitch. Yes, I am. Good deal. All right. Looks like I'm good everywhere. So yeah, I have like 12 windows open in one screen. So I'm going to be like switching back and forth all the time. So all right. And I think people who come in and say, you're not here to be persuaded. Yeah, that's cap. Because number one, you can't read my mind. And number two, I'm asking for evidence. I don't know how else you can get persuaded other than that. That's how you are convinced that something is true, is with evidence. It's pretty simple. So if you have evidence, come on up. Let's talk about it. If you don't, well, it's probably not going to be a good conversation. It's going to be really, really short. In fact, I'm probably going to just drop you. So, okay. So, Pseudo V Science, welcome. Ethereal Ember, welcome. These are my mods. So thank you all for being here. And yeah, this is a search for truth. This is what we're looking for, truth. So if you have evidence, bring it up and let's do it. And there is a bit.ly link for YouTube guests. If you want to talk, request up. And all right, looks like we have somebody in the bit.ly box. All right, well, let's get to our first guest. Yeah. All right, so this is going to take me a second to bring you up. Okay, guest, you should be on. How you doing?
Hello?
Yep. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 47.
Okay, fantastic. And do you believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, or do you believe in a mind that created the universe?
I believe in the God of the Bible.
Okay. And what is your best evidence that this God is real?
Well, I usually start with the arguments from contingency, the idea of a necessary being. Have you heard of this idea?
Oh yeah, hundreds of times. But yeah, you can go through it if you want. What's so let's just go through because there's different flavors of it. So just depending on who you talk to. So let's just So go ahead and present it.
The idea is that the universe and all the things in it are made up of they're contingent. They don't necessarily exist. They could have not existed, or they could have existed some other way.
Okay.
And so they all have something that they depend upon for their existence.
Mm-hmm.
And so there must be something at the beginning which doesn't depend on anything else for its existence.
Okay, so something in the beginning which doesn't depend on which doesn't depend on something else, right?
Right.
Okay.
And so that's where we go to God.
Okay. And so then the conclusion from that is God is that something that doesn't depend on something else?
Right.
And you would call that necessary, right?
The necessary being, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay. God is a necessary being. Okay. That's basically the gist of it here. Let me put it up on the blackboard so we can all see it and look at it. Okay. So is that about right? The universe is all things in it, and all things in it are contingent, right?
Sorry, hang on. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Universe and all things in it are contingent. Yeah, they all have something to depend on. That they depend on, yes. There must be something at the beginning which doesn't depend on something else. Yes. So that's God. That's God, the necessary being. That's the argument.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Okay. And so now we could plug in the universe as necessary, and this would meet all of the things in it, except it says the universe and all things in it are contingent. Now, how do you know that the universe is contingent?
Well, the universe could have not existed, right? It could have not been here, or we could ask the question, why does the universe exist, or why not?
Okay, well, I think that the universe has always existed. We have evidence of that. We have scientific evidence that the universe has always existed. So,
no. Well, that's scientific evidence. What do you mean by scientific evidence?
We have scientific evidence. We have the laws of physics, quantum mechanics.
The laws of physics. Hold on a sec. the laws of physics are separate from scientific evidence. What do you mean by scientific evidence that the universe has always existed? What do
How
you
are
mean by that?
okay? So we have quantum mechanics and the Schrodinger
Yes,
equation.
quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is not scientific evidence. It's a theory about certain phenomena we observe.
So you're saying that
That's different
scientific.
than-
So you're
I'm
saying that
asking you, I'm asking you
you're
for
saying that scientific theories aren't evidence.
no, a theory is certainly not evidence.
Theory is certainly
We
not
look for
evidence.
evidence for theories. And but
Uh-huh.
well, my question to you is, you claim that there is scientific evidence that the universe has always existed.
Yep.
So what is that evidence? The saying quantum mechanics is not an answer to the question.
Yeah, I just said well, you cut me off before I could finish. So the Schrodinger equation implies that time, energy, and space have always existed. And those are, you would agree, those are three elements of the universe, right?
Dude. The
No?
Schrodinger equation? How does the Schrodinger equation exactly? First of all, oh my gosh. Anyway.
What do you know about the Schrodinger equation? What is it?
I know it does. I know it certainly doesn't.
Well, here,
What
is it? We'll type it out. Tell me what the Schrodinger equation is, and we'll type it out, and you can tell me.
I don't know the exact.
Okay, so you don't know what the Schrodinger equation is. Okay, you don't know what the Schrodinger equation is.
That doesn't mean that you can. So yeah, okay.
That's true.
So explain to me how exactly the Schrodinger equation proves that.
I didn't say proof. I said
time,
evidence.
space.
What's the difference between evidence and
Or
proof?
how does it provide evidence for it then?
Okay.
that.
Okay. So the Schrodinger equation, do you know the mechanism behind the Schrodinger equation?
Schrodinger equation, I think it has to do with the idea of like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and the idea that
No. What you can do is you can calculate the superposition of particles, or almost anything, actually, the superposition of almost anything, and of objects. Let's just call them objects. And superposition is all of the possible positions they could be in the universe, anywhere. You can calculate the superposition of objects at any point in the past, present, or future. So what it implies is that time has always existed. What it also implies is that in order to calculate superposition, you must have energy. So it also implies that energy has always existed. And since you can calculate the superposition, in order to have a position, you must have space. So it also implies that space has always existed. And this was also demonstrated through the quantum eternity theorem. So, which...
No, wait. No, dude, listen, hold on a second.
Yeah.
What you're doing right now is just pulling out a bunch of terms that nobody understands and trying to make it sound like that proves something that it doesn't.
Okay.
But the idea that...
So,
hold on a second.
All right, so let's go to the Schrodinger equation, and you can point out to me exactly where it's wrong. Yeah, we'll do that.
Hold on. Wait. Just think about this, though. How can the Schrodinger equation, a calculation you're making now...
I didn't say I was making it.
Right here and now, or whatever you're making it. How can you make that equation prove something about time being eternal? How could that possibly be?
Well, I just told you, because if you can calculate positions at any time in the past, present, or future, then you can, so then that implies that time has always existed. It was never created. Right?
But no, that doesn't imply that, because you're just calculating something right now.
How can you calculate anything at any point in time if time has always existed? If time has not always existed, how do you calculate something at any point in time?
How could you even prove that that's correct? How could you prove that your calculation is correct?
All right. Well,
you're calculating something now? It's not a testable conclusion.
It is testable.
In that sense.
It is testable.
How is it
so
testable?
Are you denying? Are you denying? Hold on. Are you denying that quantum mechanics isn't true? Are you saying are you denying that quantum mechanics is true?
Quantum mechanics.
Yeah, it's a yes or no. Do you deny yes or no that quantum mechanics is true? Yeah, it is a yes or no.
Quantum mechanics is a complex field with many things that are testable. Other things are not.
Okay. And then
what are you talking about? You're trying to simplify these things into something it's just not possible. You're trying to say that because you have a Schrodinger equation now,
Is quantum mechanics
that's
true or
direct evidence that
false?
time is eternal.
Quantum mechanics,
Quantum mechanics in general, what are you talking about? Some of it is.
some of it is. Okay, which parts aren't true?
I don't know. Listen, dude, listen.
Which parts aren't
Listen,
true?
what
You
are you
said
trying to say?
you said
What
some.
are you suggesting
Okay,
to me?
I'm not going to let you dodge the question. I asked you which parts are not true. So tell me which parts are not true.
Let's say I accept.
Tell me which
I don't
parts
accept-
are
I
not
don't accept
true.
the notion- I don't
Tell
accept
me
the notion
which
that-
parts are not
Okay, I'm
true.
explaining it. I'm going to tell you. I don't accept the notion that, for example, Schrodinger's cat is alive and dead both at the same time without seeing until we open the box. I don't accept that notion, for
Okay.
example. Is that part of quantum mechanics that I'm supposed to just accept as true or false?
Yeah,
what you're asking me about?
it's part of it, but it's a basic misunderstanding. But
wait. No, so wait. So
because
what you're
yeah, in a sense
suggesting to me
it
right
is
now-
true
hold
because
on.
the cat
Hold on,
could
hold
either
on a
be
sec, hold on a sec.
all right. I'm tired of you
No,
cutting me
no,
off. I'm tired of you cutting me off. All right. So I'm just going to mute you until you have a little bit of a modicum of like self-control. So yes, the cat is possibly alive and dead at the same time because you have to calculate the probability that it's alive and dead at the same time. That's what it is. And then the wave function collapses once you calculate that probability and it gives you a singular answer. So yes, that's what Schrodinger's cat is about. Now, what were you going to say? You've been unmuted now. Go ahead.
Okay. So let's think about that. If it's true, so are you suggesting to me that until we open the box, the cat is both alive and dead, right? So that would mean that
It's either
according to
alive or
Schrodinger's
dead.
equation,
It's either alive or dead,
either alive or dead.
which is pretty obvious, right? It's either alive or not alive, right? That's pretty obvious. Because you don't know.
That it's not. No way. You're suggesting that it's not actually one of those things until we open the box.
It's the
what
there's
you're
a probability that it's both. It's either alive or dead.
The probability that it's both. What?
You're calculating the
What?
probability of
Anyway,
you're calculating the probability of both. It's either alive or dead. And so what you're doing is you're calculating the probability of it either being alive or dead before you open the box. So that's what Schrodinger's cat is about. So you don't have to open the box to find out. Does that make sense?
Okay, whatever, man. Look, so your point is that your claim is that the universe is eternal. My point is just that even if it were eternal, it would still require an explanation. Why did it begin?
Okay, what's God's explanation?
Wait. Why does it exist rather than not exist?
What's God's explanation for always existing?
Because he is the necessary being. That's the point.
The universe is necessary.
The universe is not necessary.
I just said it's necessary. That's why I said I just plugged in. I said all things in, so I can just change. Yeah, you're claiming the same thing with God. It's just a claim. So what is your evidence that God has always existed? What is your evidence that God has always existed?
No, listen. This is the difference.
All right,
this is the difference between what you're doing. Hold on a sec. This is the difference between what.
All right, I have a question, and the only answer I want from you is the answer to the question. What is your evidence that God has always existed? All right, I'm going to mute you now.
Necessary, because he's necessary.
Okay, so the question is, what is your evidence that God has always existed? Because he's necessary is a claim. You need to provide evidence that God has always existed. So I'm going to mute you again, and then you can answer. We can keep doing this until your time's up. We can keep doing this. So that's the question, and I'd like the answer.
No, you're not being fair. You're not being fair. You're just.
All right. So I'm going to ask again, what is your evidence that God has always existed? All right. I'm going to mute you again.
Because he's necessary.
Okay.
I just say,
because again, he's necessary is another claim. That's not evidence. Dude. That's a claim. So what is your evidence that God has always existed?
Listen, you're not being fair. You're not being fair here.
I'm being linear. And you're not answering the question. You're dodging it.
No.
All right. Let's ask again. And we've got How much more time? 6 minutes and 57 seconds. So I can keep doing this for another 6 minutes and 53 seconds. I'm going to ask again, what is your evidence that God has always existed? Not because he's necessary. That is another claim. That's a statement. That's an assertion. That's not evidence. So I need to hear evidence from you. Or just say, I don't have evidence. Or I don't know. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know. Okay,
There we go. You don't know.
Can we get back
All
to
right.
the explanation? No. Can we just explain to you, like, this is the thing. You're trying to say, oh, the universe is necessary, as if that's just like saying God is necessary, right? The difference is
universe is necessary. I just said it just like you did, and I asserted
I know, and I'm going to explain to you why that's different. All right. Now, the point is this, that what we're saying about the universe is it's changeable, it's measurable, it could have been otherwise. And that's the difference. That's why it's not necessary.
Oh, okay.
And
So we're putting
suggesting is-
additional attributes to God. Okay.
No. That's what necessary is. And the point is that things that are not necessary require something that's necessary to be the origin of them. That was the argument for God. That's why we argued that. Right? So that was my point the whole time. So that's why you can't just say, "Oh, the universe is necessary."
Yeah, I did.
Because
Yeah, I can.
it doesn't fulfill the definition of what necessary is.
Yeah, sure it does. Because if all the things in the universe are contingent upon the universe, that makes the universe necessary, right? Because
No,
you
they're
said
not contingent upon the universe. I never said that. They're
Yeah.
contingent. And the
You said-
universe itself is also
you said they all
contingent
have something
because-
that they depend on. That's how you define contingent. Right here, right?
Yes.
Contingent means they all have something they depend on. So, are you telling me that a planet could be a planet without a universe?
Yeah, so that listen, that's not look, you're just
Okay,
trying to play.
Let me
play
ask
word
again.
games,
Are
that's the
you
point.
saying that a
Yeah, no,
planet
I'm
can
not
be
saying that. Of course not.
Okay, so then a
Of course
planet is
not.
contingent. Are you saying that a galaxy can exist without a universe?
Is contingent too. A universe is contingent too.
Not according to my worldview. It's not. The universe is necessary because it's always existed.
No, that doesn't mean that it's not contingent.
Well, that doesn't
Because
mean
it could have been
okay.
otherwise. It could have been
But here's the
otherwise.
thing.
That's
I
the
have
point.
evidence that the universe has always existed, and I asked you what is your evidence that God has always existed, and you don't have any. So this is just a statement and a claim. So that means my conclusion is stronger than yours because I have evidence, and you don't. Okay, I'll give you an opportunity to answer again. What is your evidence that I don't give a fuck about metaphysics? I've got science behind me. Who gives a fuck about metaphysics? No, don't give a fuck about it.
There's no science without metaphysics.
That's
There's no science
fine.
without logic
And then,
reason.
but science supersedes metaphysics. If you've got
No,
science,
it doesn't. Of course it doesn't.
Yes, it
No,
does.
It doesn't.
are you
Cause
telling
and
me?
effect.
Are you telling
Cause and
me?
effect is
Okay,
not
so what you're
science.
telling me then is that if you're going to go with a metaphysical statement over scientific evidence. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, there's no science without metaphysics, bro.
It doesn't matter if there's science without metaphysics. I understand that. There's also no science without philosophy. I understand that.
Yes, exactly. So that's
Okay.
what we're talking about.
So what is the definition?
establish
What is the
science
definition of science?
Science is studying things in the natural world and coming with conclusions about them. I don't know.
Perfect. Okay. And is the universe part of the natural world?
Yes.
Okay. So, and if we have evidence that the universe, which has always existed and which is always part of the natural world, why would
You
I
have
care about?
evidence. You have
why
proof
would
of
I-
that,
I
First of all,
okay.
that's the
Again,
first thing.
again, what's the difference between evidence and proof?
I don't know. Look, dude, you're
Okay.
just completely. This
So-
is obvious. You're trying to play games instead of trying.
There's no
to
playing games here.
determine the
There
truth.
is
Yeah, you're absolutely.
no, there isn't.
you're
You
absolutely
don't.
playing games.
Okay. So
You're
again,
trying to say that science.
oh, this is a great
overrides
crash out. This is so getting
metaphysics.
clipped, everybody. This is totally getting
You're trying to
clipped.
suggest. Wait.
So-
You're trying to suggest that science overrides metaphysics. Is that what you're trying to say?
When you're talking about
without
physical
that-
things, yes, it does.
Why? How does it do that? What are you talking
Because
about?
we have evidence of physical things. Are you going to tell me that?
You have evidence. of
Are you
metaphysical
going to
things
tell me?
too.
Are you going to tell like what? Like okay, yeah, we have evidence of some metaphysical
Cause and
things.
effect. Cause and effect.
Yeah.
is metaphysics. not
Like,
physics.
Uh-huh. But cause and
So,
effect. Yeah, there is cause
so
and
Science
effect.
doesn't work without cause and effect, right?
That's true.
Cause and effect is necessary for science to work, right? Is that true or not?
This is true. So
Okay.
so then
So
what
there must be a
what
first
okay, so
cause.
what
That's the
okay,
point.
what things so what is the first cause of God then?
God is the one that is the first cause.
Okay.
That's the point.
And I told you the universe is the one that's the first cause. It's the same thing.
No, it can't. No, it can't be.
It can because we have evidence that it's always existed,
No,
and you have
because-
no evidence that God has existed. Don't you get it?
No, we
You're
do
not
have
tracking,
evidence that
sir.
God exists.
Sure, you're not tracking.
And again, again, you have claims that your evidence, quote unquote, is that the
I
universe
have claims.
existed.
Yes.
Even if it did.
Yes, I
even
have
if it
claims.
did, even if
Yes.
it did always exist, it would still be contingent.
Okay.
Because it could have
So-
been otherwise. It could have been something else. It changes.
Who cares?
This is the
And how do you know that?
Things that are contingent and not.
Again, how do you know
How
that?
do I know that? How do I know the universe doesn't change? How do I know the universe?
I didn't
changes?
say
What
that.
are talking
You said
about?
it could have been something else. How do you know that?
Because
What is
that's
your-
just-
What is your evidence of that? Oh, there we go. Time's up. Oh, no, 58 seconds left.
No, that's pretty much universally agreed among physicists too. That the laws of physics could have been otherwise. That things could have been otherwise. That's just natural understanding of all these things. Your claim that you're trying to be some rational interlocutor on this subject is not true.
Who said?
You're actually being a very difficult. You're not
Oh,
trying to
I'm being
discuss
difficult because I'm
things.
asking you to define things. Yes, that's
No,
being
no,
difficult.
that's not why. That's
Because
not why.
if
That's
you
not why. I
yeah,
never
because
said
you
that.
want to declare
said that. I never
and just say
suggested
whatever the
that.
fuck you want, and that's not how that works here.
Yeah, right. That's not what I said.
That's
No,
not what
you're the
that's
one
not how
trying to
that
say
works here.
Physics,
So,
physics overrides contingency.
when it comes to
The universe
physical
is always
things,
exists,
yes, it
therefore it's
does.
contingent.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It
You're a
doesn't.
joke.
Okay. So,
Later, man. Later. Have fun. Have fun pretending, bro.
all right. Yeah. So, that was a nice little crash out. Okay, we had metaphysics. Aristotle started metaphysics because we didn't have science. And yes, it provides the foundation and basis for science, but that's why we have physics. So if you're going to rely on 1,000-year-old theories before science started, well, you're just going to get roasted. So that was fun. Watching him deny that quantum mechanics isn't true. All right. So if you are in the guest box, you have to be at least 18. You have to believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, or at absolute minimum, a mind that created the universe. And also, please have evidence that your God is real. And please be sober. Yeah. So, I never said science replaces metaphysics. So I never said that. I said when we talk about physical things that we can demonstrate with physics, then metaphysics doesn't replace that. It doesn't supersede that. So that's not what I said. It's just funny how these Christians just cannot track. These believers cannot track what people say. It's like you hear what you want to hear. All right. So you're on YouTube. You have the link up there. You can request up. All right. Next guest. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I'll bring you come back up, JJ. You'll be next, but we got some housekeeping to do first. I remembered this time. I remembered.
You remembered.
And it fucking worked. How about that?
Yes. Oh my God. It's probably because I haven't been on another live today. I'm like,
Is that
I
what
have
it,
to
you think
treat
that's what it is?
TikTok very carefully. If I move
crazy.
wrong, it'll stop working.
It's crazy. It's like the old days when I was a kid when we had the rabbit ears for TVs and you had to like put foil on it and then
Yes.
hold it a certain way. Yeah. The kids
Yeah,
don't know.
we had that at the beginning of my marriage.
Yeah.
Yep, I know that. Yeah, putting the foil on it, having to put it in the exact right direction. Absolutely.
That's what it
All
is.
right, I will do my announcement.
Right on.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trust But Verifies Live. We have 72 people in here, and we are happy to see you. In this live, you'll experience mostly calm conversations where the spice level of that conversation can get to that of about a poblano. But keep all arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because we will go back to a nice, sweet bell pepper level eventually. If you haven't yet, please do your heart me's and your daily goals. If you long tap the screen, you'll see there's a place to repost and share more easily. Plus, we get more individual shares that way for the algorithm. So we really appreciate your help there. If we could try to get to at least 10,000 likes in the next few minutes, we've got 66 people in here, so we should be able to do it. And let's see, and let's get to 50 shares. We're at 22 right now. We do have an early kick goal. If you send enough gifts, it'll trigger a kick poll, which can come in handy often depending on the guests we have. And if you don't want to wait for the kick poll, you can send a jellyfish to move to the next guest immediately. If you are able, Trust has a subscription or a membership you can get depending on which platform. You can just take a look at both, well, actually all three platforms. You can do an Amazon Prime subscription on Twitch. You can do a membership with a few levels on YouTube, and then there's a subscription on here. But please only gift or subscribe if you're able to. We know times are tough right now. And let's see. Trying to think of all the things that I need. We have a Discord. The link is in Trust Bio. You'll need to copy and paste it to your web browser in order for it to work. It is open to everyone, so it's not just atheists. We do allow believers in there as well. But if you can't get the link to work, just let one of us mods know and we'll be happy to help you. One last mod announcement: please no preaching, praying for non-believers, or being rude in the chat. Please don't use caps lock either. It's hard. It can be hard with the different guests that we can get sometimes, but it's how we communicate with Trust and the chat as mods, so we appreciate your help in keeping the chat clear. Once again, welcome to Trust But Verifies Live. We are happy to see you.
Thank you, Amber. Give them
You
a
are
round of
welcome.
applause. Thank you so much. You are magnificent.
No worries. I will drop down.
Right on. All right. So thank you for that, Ember. And that applies on YouTube as well. So just mind your manners in the chat. Yeah. So pretty easy. And all right. So let's bring up our next guest. JJ, thanks for waiting. How's it going?
Hello, brother. How are you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
I am.
And trouble just arrived. Looks like you have some connection
Nothing's
issues or
fine.
something. Yeah. So you want to move to like you got 1 bar on your connection. So here, why don't you work out your connection issue, like move to a better signal area, and then I'll bring you back up. We'll go to the next guest. How's it going?
Pretty good.
All right. Good to hear.
56.
All right.
56.
And which God do you believe in?
I believe in the God of love.
Okay. Which one is that?
The God that represents love. That's
Okay.
the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Now,
Which one is
I
that?
think you made
I don't know which one
you
that
made
is.
a comment. Yeah, so you made a comment earlier about the God of the Bible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Hold
believe-
on. Before you continue, I need to know which God you believe in. Is it the God of the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, or just a mind that created the universe?
I believe in the God that's described in the Bible, but I'm not going to say the God of the Bible because we're going to get into details of what do you actually mean by that?
Okay.
Like people talked about God in the Bible.
Is Jesus your Lord and
Right?
Savior?
But God is not the Bible.
Is Jesus your Lord and Savior?
I would say yes. I'm going to say yes on that.
All right. Okay, fantastic.
We got to define what that means. We define what that means because I'm sure I view that differently than you. So
Okay.
I don't want to take anything for granted here in our conversation.
All right.
Nothing.
What's your best evidence that God is real?
The God that represents love. My best evidence that the God that represents love, I'm not talking about another God that you might be thinking of, but the God that represents the concept of love, the expression of love. That the evidence that God is real is because uh, love is real.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying the God that represents the concept of
And
love
expression.
is real
And expression.
and expression. Represents the concept and expression of love is real. Love is real. Therefore, God is real. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
That's the argument?
Yes.
Okay. So that is tantamount to my plugging a power strip into itself. That's a circular argument. So the God that represents the concept of expression of love is real. Love is real, therefore God is real. So that's basically
Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. I hear you. I think there's a different way to look at it. If we put an apple on the table, right, and then you ask me what's my evidence that an apple is real, I'm going to point to the apple and say it's real. Now you might look at that thing and say, well, who says that's an apple? Who says that's an apple? Just because you say it's an apple, that makes it an apple?
That's not what I'm saying.
So the thing, so hear me out. Humans, when we see an apple, humans have said that's an apple. Now we could have said it's an orange, but we said it's an apple.
Okay.
So language is really important, right? Because we use language to describe a thing. So if I describe love as God, I am by in fact defining it an apple. I'm defining it an apple. Now, if everybody agrees and we agree and it's in the dictionary that it's an apple, then you can't say an apple's not an apple. It is an apple. We define it that way.
Okay. So
And what I'm saying to you is like, and that's why I said we got to be careful about the God of the Bible, because like the Bible will say God is love.
this is just
Now
nonsense.
I say God is love, but you might say, well, it ain't love. You just made that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we go to the
What-
dictionary and look up the definition of love, are we going to see God there?
Would you just ask me? Did I believe in the Bible?
Okay.
The
Let's
Bible
not
says God
let's
is love.
not let's not dodge.
No,
I
but
asked
you asked
you.
me that.
Okay. Let me ask you again. If we go to the dictionary and look up the definition of love, are we going to see the word God there?
I doubt it.
You doubt
I
it?
haven't looked
So
up.
you made up your
Yeah,
own
I doubt it.
definition of what God is, and you applied it to
okay.
love, and then now you're saying love is, I'm declaring that God is the representation of concept and expression of love. Love is real, therefore God is real.
Well, I'm saying Bible says that. Now I'm agreeing with that point, but it's not like I just made it up myself.
Okay.
Right? I got it from the Bible. Now,
Okay.
now, if you say that God is not love, if you make that claim that God is not love, then obviously then
I didn't make that claim.
Let me come at.
When did I make
No,
that
but
claim?
I'm gonna come at it. I'm gonna come at it from a different.
Well,
direction.
hold on. You're putting words in my mouth. When did I make that claim?
No, I said if.
Okay. Well, why are you making an argument against an if? I didn't make that claim. Why don't you make an argument about what I actually say?
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. I will say to you that love is real. Love is
Okay.
real.
All
now,
right.
Now, I'm also going to say the reason why I believe in Christianity is it's not for a lot of the reasons that you think. The reasons why I believe in Christianity, or I shouldn't say you, that many people might think. But the reason why I believe is because I have said, Bible says God is love. I said, oh, okay. Well, if God is love, and I believe love is real, so that means to me, God is real. But I would even go a step further. Let's just say we don't agree. It's not common knowledge that God is love. Let's say humanity doesn't embrace that definition, that it's an apple. Okay. I would just come on this live and say to you that the only thing I believe in as a Christian, my Christianity, my version, the only thing I really believe in is that love is the way. Love is the way.
We're kind of getting we're getting off topic here. I want evidence. No, you're talking about love, and I want to talk about God being real. So if you're saying, well, God is real, love is real, God is real, love is God, therefore God is real. That's what you're saying. It's the same thing as me saying God is love is blind, Ray Charles is blind, therefore Ray Charles is God.
Okay, so the question, do you believe love is real?
Didn't even track. Of course I do.
I heard you. I did.
Yeah.
You believe? Okay.
Of course I do.
So now I'm going to ask you a hypothetical. If in fact God was love, then you would agree that God is real, correct?
If
Yeah,
God is love, then God
no,
is real.
if in fact God was love, then by your own admission, because you agree love is real, then you would also, by extension, have to say God is real.
Perfect.
If
Then
it's love.
demonstrate that God is love.
No. I'm asking. I'm just trying to get you to agree with me or disagree before we can go to the next level. Because I'm trying to make an argument, but I got to build upon something.
Yeah, that's a
Would you agree?
provisional. I just asked you.
No,
Then
it's-
what you'll have to do is demonstrate that God is love for that to be true. So how do you demonstrate? What is your evidence that God is love?
Okay. Obviously, we have a different understanding of God, and no matter what I say, will not be acceptable
Okay,
evidence for you.
totally shut down.
No,
All you got to
no,
do is provide evidence that God is
no,
love.
no,
I'm
I'm trying.
with you. If you do that, KC, I'll believe what you say. You
No,
just
no.
have to provide evidence that
Okay.
God is love. So what is your evidence that God is love?
Okay. So what I'm saying to you is that I believe that love is real. That is my version of
Okay,
Christianity.
I heard you say that before.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So what my point is, if the conversation goes beyond love, then it's, in my view, a waste of time because not only are we not talking about the God that I believe in, I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
So
Does
the
your
whole
God
point that I'm
commit
making,
loving acts? Does your God commit acts of love?
my God is the ideological concept of love. So he doesn't commit anything. It's only people that believe in that concept
Okay, so he's
can
the
actually trace
ideological concept of love. And what are the aspects, what are the attributes of the ideological concept of love? What is an example of that?
love is kind. Love is
Love
not
is
easily
kind?
provoked.
Okay.
Love is seeketh not its own. Love is long suffering. Love is patient.
Okay.
Just yeah,
Love is patient, love is kind. Okay. And
absolutely.
okay. And is love also allowing preventable suffering?
Yeah. Love. The concept of love allows for suffering, for sure,
I said preventable suffering.
for sure. Yes.
Okay. So you're saying that
It,
it's a loving act if a person who has the power to stop suffering allows it. So for example, if a doctor has the power to help heal a patient, if they purposely not heal that patient, that's a loving act?
you're making an assumption that's not true.
I didn't
You're
make an
putting a
assumption.
strong
I asked a
argument.
question. I asked a
Oh,
question.
oh,
A question is not an
no,
assumption.
that,
A question is a question. So when I'm
but
asking you,
love doesn't have that power.
love doesn't
So
have that
the
power. Okay, so what you're saying then is that preventable suffering isn't loving.
no, I'm saying that
Preventing.
love doesn't have the power to prevent suffering. Is what I'm saying.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I said. You got to
No,
track
but
what I'm
you're
saying.
asking me what I'm saying. No, you said what am I saying? You said what I'm saying. I'm telling you what I'm saying.
Okay.
Now you can say something different, but if you ask me what
You
I'm saying,
didn't.
I'm telling
You're
you
not
love doesn't
addressing
have
the.
the power.
Okay, you're not addressing the question. You got to track, Casey. You got to track.
No, ask me a question.
Okay,
Don't
lock
tell me
in.
what I'm saying, though.
You got to track,
Okay.
Casey. Lock in. All right.
All right.
Listen to what I'm
Don't ask me
saying.
a question. If you ask me a question, let me answer.
Let's.
Okay.
Okay. So the
All right.
question is allowing preventable suffering when you have the power to stop it loving?
But no.
No, it's not. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a hypothetical. So do you believe that God created everything, created our existence?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So let's just imagine a fawn in the forest, right? And this fawn in the forest is lying in the middle of the forest and waiting for its mother to come back, because that's what fawns do, right? And a lightning bolt strikes the forest and lights the forest on fire, and it surrounds the fawn with fire and smoke. And there's no way to get to the fawn on time. It's going to die. It's going to burn, and it's going to suffer from smoke inhalation. You would agree that's suffering, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how is that loving if God doesn't prevent that fawn from suffering?
Well, let's assume the fawn's mother, the deer, the fawn's mother, the
Can't
deer
get to the
loves
mother. It's surrounded by smoke and fire. Nothing can get to it.
I'm trying to answer your question.
Yeah,
But I got to give it to you in a way you can understand it, right? So if the fawn's mother, the deer, loves.
I didn't ask about the
her
fawn's
child.
mother. I asked about the God.
No,
I asked about God.
No, because you asked me a question about love.
No,
How is it
I asked
loving?
you a question
How
about
about
God.
Okay. Ask your question again, because I heard, how is it loving to let the fawn die or suffer? That's what I heard.
Yeah. To
Okay,
let the
so
fawn.
how is it okay?
To let
Suffer.
if
And
God can prevent the suffering. You would agree that God can prevent the fawn from suffering, right?
I said no. I told you no.
So God God does not have the power to prevent the farm from suffering?
No.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have that power. So he's not all powerful.
I don't know who's okay. What the question is, what does it mean to be all powerful?
Is your God all powerful? Yes or no?
Okay. In the way that you're describing it, no. And it's obvious. That's obvious.
What is the definition of all powerful?
You tell your definition or my definition?
Okay. Who asked the question, KC? I asked the question. That means I'm asking you what your definition of all powerful means. Why would I put my definition of all powerful when I'm asking you the question? This is nonsense. Let's track and let's lock in, okay? I asked you, KC, what is your definition? You know what the word your means, right? Your
Okay, so
definition of all powerful.
I'm not even sure. I'll be honest with you.
You're not
I
even
mean,
sure.
So humans came up with this concept that God was all powerful.
Okay. Is your God all
Right.
powerful? Yes or no? Can your God do anything?
No,
No,
definitely cannot do anything.
he can't do anything.
Definitely cannot do anything. No, there's many things he can't do.
He can't do anything. Okay. So
There's
he can
many things
he can
God can't
create.
do.
He can create.
He can't force you to believe a certain
That's
thing.
not what I
He
asked.
can't lie.
He can create.
No, you say anything. I'm giving you some things he can't do.
Okay.
So I'm proving your statement by giving you things he cannot do.
Okay. And so he can't prevent suffering.
No. Because to prevent suffering will require him to force you to behave a certain way.
Okay.
And he doesn't do that.
Okay. So he doesn't do that.
If you want to use drugs, he's not going to stop you from using drugs, and
he-
you're going to suffer.
Okay, we're not talking about
So the
using
answer is
drugs.
no.
Can't.
But you're asking me a question.
So are you saying
people use drugs and they suffer?
are you saying he doesn't have the ability, or he just can't? He doesn't have the ability, or he
same
chooses
thing.
not to?
They're the same thing from my perspective.
Inability and
he
choice
can't-
are the so in a lack of okay. So lack of
He
action.
cannot violate his character. He cannot violate his character because his character is who he is.
Well, say I don't know what his
So
character is because you're being very, very
I just
evasive.
told you, his character is love.
His character is love, and that's just a nonsense. That's a nonsense answer. That doesn't
Well,
make
no,
any
okay,
sense.
you're asking me my view, and I'm giving you my view. You can say it doesn't make sense, but I'm saying love cannot force its position on another person. That
Yeah,
would
but
be
this
love.
isn't any evidence whatsoever. It's just a statement.
No,
It's
you're
just a
just
claim.
asking me a question. No, but I'm saying to you that if you love a person, you can't force your will
Oh,
on them.
we have the early
Anybody that
kick
loves a
poll.
person-
Oh God, I'm glad I remembered
anybody
that.
that loves a person can't force themselves
Oh,
on
my
another
God.
person.
All right, we're gonna do the early kick poll. This is I'm so glad I remembered.
Yeah,
All right.
it's because you don't have the weakness where you can just run over people. I'm giving you some real logic.
No,
and you don't like it.
you're giving me real logic. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, let's ask ask
What's not
YouTube.
logical? What's not logical? What I just
Is
said?
the guest logical? We'll just ask YouTube. It's a yes or no. I'm starting the poll with YouTube. Is the guest logical? Yes or no? We'll ask YouTube. And we'll ask, okay, happy face if the guest is logical, or crying face if the guest is
Listen,
nonsensical.
a better way to
All
prove
right,
it's
there we go.
illogical is to show the illogic of the statement.
So,
That's a better way.
We got
Not just to
126
ask everybody
people.
that agrees with
All
you.
right. So
You ask 100 people to agree with you.
we
to
might
agree with
make
you.
we might
That's
make
not logic,
we
sir.
might make the Kick
That's not
Poll Hall of
logic.
Fame.
That's agreement.
Oh, this is two crash outs in a row. You know what? Ethereal Ember, I did speak too soon. Remember when I said, "Oh, things seem to be calm this week."
Yeah.
I spoke too soon.
Asking 100 people that you agree with to agree with
30
you. That's not logic,
30
sir. That's
Not
just
everybody
agreement.
here agrees with me, sir. I can tell you that
That's
right
not
now.
a way to verify logic. A way to verify logic
Yeah.
is to talk about how it's not illogical.
Yeah,
What's
not
your
everybody.
logic to say it's
Not
illogical?
everybody. No. This is just gone
That's
beyond.
prove something's not logical.
This
is
has
by
gone
giving
beyond.
some-
No. This is just nonsense.
You said it's
this
not
whole
unlawful.
conversation is
He
just a
can't
waste of time.
force you to lie.
So,
He can't force you to do things. Of course, he can't do
Yeah.
everything. That's obvious.
all right, I'm gonna just
very
double this as a kick poll. So we're just gonna double that because this is
But
absolutely
you're asking about kick polling. You're
absolutely
not
a
talking to me.
nonsense.
So if you want me to go because you don't want to talk to me, you don't have to do the kick poll. It's your show. Just say bye.
Bye.
Right?
Like that? Okay. Almost got him into the Hall of Fame. It was only 33-3. Not quite. You got to have at least 50 votes to get in the Hall of Fame. So, but it was a pretty decisive kick poll. Pretty decisive. So 33-3. Oh, did I trick somebody? Trust, you tricked me. I thought it was time to kick him. I voted yes, but the guy's not logical. Well, I'm sorry about that. So actually the 22 votes on YouTube are a little tainted, but that's okay. That's okay. All right. So that was painful. That was extremely painful. Wow. You know what? It's just amazing is that people walk around thinking stuff like this. That's the amazing thing. And thinking like this is actually like this makes sense. And then there's 3 people that voted for this guy. Wow. Now I know why our country's in the state it's in. Okay. Yeah, it is scary. Just the absolute wow. Just that was wild. Okay. So, all right. So if you're in the guest queue, let's see, we've got 3 in TikTok, none in YouTube. So it'll be a TikTok guest next. Please be sure that you're at least 18 years old. That is a TikTok, TikTok terms of service thing, and also somewhat for YouTube, but we're going to go with TikTok terms of service. Also, be a believer of the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, or at minimum, a mind that created the universe. And also, please have evidence that your God is real. All right, let's go to our next guest. How's it going?
Yay! How's it going?
Yeah, doing well. How old are you?
I am 48,
Okay. And which God do you believe in?
the only God.
The only God? Which one is that?
The God of Christianity.
Okay. And what is your best evidence that this God is real?
Well, I believe that we are living on a rock spinning in the middle of space, in the middle of nothing, and I believe that the only one who put us there is God.
Okay. And then how did you figure that out to be true?
Because science says you can't make something from nothing, so obviously somebody put us here.
Okay. And so so you're saying God put us here, God created everything?
Oh yeah,
What did God create everything from?
whatever he wanted.
Whatever he wanted. What was that?
Whatever he wanted.
Yeah, what was that, Lo? What was,
Well,
because
I
you
mean,
said you can't
if-
create something
if-
from nothing, right? So what did
if-
God
if-
create everything from?
If
What was
you want, well, he created everything that he created everything with.
okay? So
So
what was
let's- let's-
wait, hold on. I got a question. What was here before God created everything?
Well, that depends on what the whole galaxy is, what all of space is.
What was here before a
And
galaxy and
he-
all of space?
Only he knows that.
Okay.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows that. Only God knows that.
Okay. So
But if you wanna, if you will, let me just give this like more art level explanation.
okay.
When you make a cake, you need a spice rack,
Okay.
right? You need ingredients.
You need ingredients. Yeah, I agree.
So science says that we are made of atoms, right?
Mhm.
The same atoms as the stars.
Okay.
So that just means that God had ingredients.
Okay. 1 second. W to all the Raiders from Crystals Live. Welcome in. Glad you guys are here. Welcome to all you Raiders, and I'm glad you guys are here. You guys have a place here, and thank you very much. All right. Sorry about that. Shannon, go ahead.
That's okay. So I believe he had ingredients. So he used them just like
Okay.
you use to make a cake.
Okay. And
It's very simple.
where did God get the ingredients from?
He created them,
He created the ingredients out of what?
whatever he wanted.
Whatever he wanted. But what was that?
There's no limits, is basically what I'm saying. There's no limits
there's no
to
limits.
what he can do.
Okay.
No, he can do everything.
Can God create a rock so heavy you can't lift it?
Of course.
He can? How? Okay, so God can create a rock so heavy that he can't lift it.
Oh, that he can't lift it. I thought
Yeah.
you said that we can't lift.
No, he can't lift it. So
Um,
God create a rock so
no,
heavy
I
that
be-
he can't lift it.
No.
No? Then he can't do anything.
No, he can lift it.
He
That's what
can
I'm
lift
saying.
it. Okay, so then he
Yeah.
can't create a rock so heavy that he can't lift it.
I don't believe that he has limits.
He has no limits. So okay,
No.
so that means so then back to the question: can God create a rock so heavy that he can't lift it?
Um, I don't think that he would. I don't think he would waste his time on something like
Well, it's
that.
not about whether he would or wouldn't. I'm
it's
actually I'm just saying if he has the ability to. Does he have the ability to create a rock that's so heavy he can't lift it?
no, because I think he's capable of everything.
Okay. Well, if he's capable of everything, then that means that if he can't create a rock so heavy that he can't lift it, then he's not capable of everything, right? Because he can't create that rock.
He wouldn't create that rock.
He wouldn't. Well, no, it's not about a
makes-
matter of wouldn't. It's if he could.
No, but you're comparing apples to oranges.
How so?
Because you can put it in a way to fit your narrative all you want. The truth is there are no limits to what God can do.
Okay.
Or not do.
Okay. So,
And so
all right, but
I
that's not
think
really an
that
answer to the question, though.
because to me it's an irrelevant question. You're just trying to prove a point.
Okay.
Which I
So
think
that means
you're
he's limited by
you're
logic,
just
right?
you're just trying to discredit him. is
No,
what
no,
you're
no.
doing.
What I was doing was I was just exposing like the illogicity of that. So that means that what I'm
No.
saying is that God can do things within the limits of logic, right?
No.
No, so he's not limited
No,
by
if
logic.
if okay, let me put it this way. If God could fit an our 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping.
Okay. Can God create a squared circle?
He can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants, except create a rock so heavy he can't lift.
Well, do you believe that there's gravity? You can't see it.
Yes, because we can measure
you
it,
can't
test
see
it,
it.
all that stuff. Okay. So if there's, do you believe there's gravity?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
So okay. So you and I both believe there's gravity. That's great. All right. So all right. So I'm still not sure how like any of this is evidence because this is all like statements. Like God can do anything. Okay, that's great.
Well, because
And God created
Well,
everything.
because
That's great.
science says you can't make something from nothing.
I
So
totally
then you're
agree.
implying we're really not here.
No, because I don't believe that we can make something from nothing. I believe the universe always existed. And we have
But
evidence
it
for that.
didn't.
Yeah, it did.
No, we don't.
We have evidence of that. Yeah, we do.
do not. We have
Yeah, we do.
theories.
Okay.
We have theories.
Okay. What is your definition of a theory?
You make up what you think
You make
may
up?
have happened with you weren't there 2 million years ago.
Okay.
Nobody was.
Okay. Hold on. What's the definition of a theory? You make up something that you think happened?
You make up a narrative
You you
that
imagine something
is
that happened.
possibly may have happened or not.
Okay.
That's a theory.
That's a theory? Okay.
I mean, you can look up the definition
Sure.
exactly. of a
We'll do
theory.
it.
It's
What's a
not hard.
scientific theory?
A theory.
A theory is a science. So theory and a scientific theory are the same?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So
Most definitely.
definitely?
Oh yeah.
How-
A theory is a theory. Theory fits into anything.
Okay. So if we looked up the difference between a scientific theory and a theory, they're going to say the exact same thing?
No, even in science, nobody was there.
Nobody was there?
Nobody was there.
Okay.
When the earth was created, nobody was there.
Okay. Who else was there when God created everything?
Just God.
Just God, right? So, but nobody else was there.
No.
Okay. So isn't that the same as saying nobody else was there when, as far as science is concerned? That's the
Right?
same thing, right?
Right.
Okay. Right. So it's the same. You're basically debunking your own claim then.
No, I'm not. It's theory.
This
It's theory.
is so wild. Wow. This is wild.
It's not a joke.
This is so wild.
I'm not insulting you.
I'm just okay. So I know you're not insulting me, but
Are you implying that somebody was there when when Earth was created?
no, I'm not implying that.
Okay, then who put it there?
Gravity did. Gravity created Earth.
Gravity.
We have evidence of that. Yeah.
Oh, that
What's
that
your
is
evidence that
not
what's
true.
your evidence that God created Earth?
What's your evidence that he didn't?
Oh, don't answer a question to a question. Just answer the
Oh
question.
yeah, no, it's the truth. That's the ultimate.
Yeah. So what's
That's
your
the ultimate.
what's your
Go back
what's
and
your
forth.
evidence? Hold on. What's your
You
evidence that
You
God
can't. What's yours?
Okay. What's your evidence then that little blue men do not live inside of Venus?
Who said that they didn't?
Okay. So it's the same answer. It's the same question you just gave
I
me.
don't
So
think
what
that
is your
there's any limits
Okay.
to what God has created.
All right, hold on, Shannon. What's your evidence? Because then this will be the answer to your how do you know that God didn't create the earth? So what's your evidence that little blue men do not live inside of Venus?
I never
It's a s-
said they didn't.
Okay. So what is your do little blue men live inside of Venus?
I think that there's no limits to what God created.
All right.
There
It's a
could
yes or
be.
no. Yes or no. Is
There could be.
there
I've
could
never
be?
been to Venus.
You've never been to Venus? Okay.
Right.
So what is your evidence that leprechauns don't exist? Do leprechauns exist?
Because they're mythical.
Okay, and how do you know that?
Because there's no evidence. Have you ever seen a skeleton of a
Well, I have no evidence of God. There's no evidence of God.
What do you mean? There's evidence of God everywhere.
Okay.
You're just not looking for him.
I'm just not looking for him.
Mhm.
Okay. What kind of evidence?
Scripture.
Scripture? Okay, so scripture is
There's
evidence of God?
history, the Ethiopian Bible.
Okay. The Ethiopian
Um,
Bible? Okay. So,
That's because God's not dead.
okay.
Of course, I've never seen the skeleton of God. What
Is
the hell?
is all of scripture 100% true?
All of Scripture is 100% incomplete. That's what scares me.
100% incomplete.
Yes, not all Scripture. There's pages missing from Scripture.
Okay. We got an early kick
There's
poll.
there's holes in Scripture. There's
All
missing
right.
pieces of Scripture. We got very little pieces of Scripture, so it's not complete.
Let's set the kick
So,
poll,
so
everybody. You guys
which
voted for
is
the
why
kick poll, so we're going to start it. Okay. This will be clip 2. All right. So this time, this is the kick poll to keep or kick the guest. I'm starting it on YouTube. And since you guys hit the live goal, we're going to start that early. And so guests on TikTok or chat on TikTok, you guys know what to do. Happy face to keep the guest or crying face to move on to the next one. All right. Polls have started. So go ahead and vote, everybody. Please vote accordingly. And we'll see what happens. All right. So, okay. So it's pretty consistent. Well, I would say YouTube, you're very generous. 59% no. 56%. So it's a little more even on the YouTube side. All right. Well, it looks like they're going to vote to move on. Is there anything any last things you want to say, Shannon? Oh, she left. Okay. So, well, let's see. Let's let it all play out. 10-34. All right. Did not kick her. She left on her own 2 feet. All right. So, how was that? Yeah, I think spoke too soon from yesterday, last 2 days. Okay. So let's move on to the next guest. Okay, Ru, I see you in there, but you know my thing. I have to take first timers first. Yeah. So I don't know who is next, so I'm just going to pick the next one, but I'm going to check okay, YouTube is empty. So let's pull the next guest up. Oh, and if you are in the guest queue, please be at least 18, believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, and also have evidence that God is real. How's it going, Sards?
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How old are you?
I'm 37.
37? Okay. And which God do you believe in?
Yeah, I believe in the God of Christianity.
Okay.
I'm a Christian myself.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. And
And how do I call you? Address you?
Trust. You can call me Trust.
Yeah. there you go.
All right.
Address.
What's your
Thanks.
best evidence, Sards, that God is real?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say that I know my evidence. What I'm mentioning, it's not gonna convince you or make me right.
It might convince
I
me.
just want to. Okay.
I'm a
that's-
non-resistant non-believer.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I just want to say that I might not make sense to you or the other viewers,
Okay.
but this is just purely based on my belief.
Okay.
my
That's
faith.
fair. Okay. So it's purely based on faith. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, but and the reason why I joined is I'm in pursuit of. I'm also challenging my own faith in
Okay.
pursuit of trying to connect science with Christianity.
Mm.
Because I believe in God that He can do everything. So
Mhm.
with that, if it's a God who can do everything, then I'm thinking He's also a God who can explain everything through science. So I'm in that process of discovery. So
Okay.
that's why I joined here.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm sorry, English is not my first language, so
Oh, you're doing great.
I've had some challenging. Okay.
Yeah, you're
So
doing
my,
great.
my evidence mainly is the scripture,
Okay.
the Bible
Scripture.
itself. Yep, that's the first one. And
Okay.
my personal experience with my faith,
Okay.
faith of the people that I'm close with.
Okay. So let's tackle one at a time. So it sounds like you got two. It's your personal experience and the scripture. So
Yeah.
would you say that all of scripture is true?
That I haven't made a final conclusion yet because I'm under the impression that it could have been the scripture could have been manipulated by humans
Mm-hmm.
who had different agenda versus what
Okay.
God had intended.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like
So
then,
there's
okay.
a large part of it I believe is true, and maybe some part of it, it's manipulated and it's not true.
Okay. How do you distinguish between the parts that are manipulated and not true and then the parts that are true?
Yeah, my main the main factor is how I experience life.
Okay. So if it lines up with your experience,
Yeah, so far.
got it. Okay. And then what else about, so what does your experience tell you about the qualities of God?
Yeah, that He's God of love.
God of love?
Yes,
Okay.
I've always experienced that.
Okay.
Since I've been conscious up until now,
Okay.
and He is God of mercy.
God of mercy. Okay. So God of love, God of mercy, God who saves. I remember a song like that when I was in church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God who saves.
Okay. And then that's by your personal experience, right? So
Yeah.
then we should be able to test, let's just say the merciful God part, right? We should be able to test that, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe the loving God part. We can test that.
Yeah.
We can verify to see if that's true, right?
Yeah, we can definitely discuss about it.
Okay.
But to verify, I don't think I have that
Okay.
ability, to
Okay.
verify it.
Is your God all powerful?
Yes, that's what I believe.
You believe he's all powerful, and is he all knowing?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's all powerful, he's all knowing, and he's all loving. And so let me ask you this. Is it loving would it be a loving act to stop unnecessary suffering?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So if a person or a being, let's just say a person, had the power to stop suffering, would it be a loving thing to do to stop it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a question I asked another guest, but they really, really dodged it. So here, I'll ask you, see if I can get an answer out of you. So let's just imagine a fawn, a baby deer in the forest. And this fawn, it's waiting for its mother, and lightning strikes and lights the forest on fire, and it surrounds the fawn with fire and smoke so that the mother can't get to it.
Yeah.
Would you say in that situation God could prevent the fawn from burning and dying?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yes.
is that would you agree or disagree that fawn, if it did burn and die, it would suffer?
Yeah. It would suffer.
Okay. So we see that a lot in the wild, right? In the world. Animals suffer. And if God has the power to prevent their suffering, how could we call that God loving if we see animals suffer every day?
Yeah. And let me expound more on your
Sure.
question, because I've been thinking about that for the longest time. There are children suffering in this world.
Mm-hmm.
They were born with diseases, or they could be in locations where all their life they're just suffering and they just die.
Yeah.
I've been thinking that. So to your question, if God is so powerful and so loving, why would he let that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And my conclusion is, since He's a God who's all knowing, He knows what the soul of that particular kid or the child will do um,
Mm-hmm.
after this. So He's the one who knows why that thing that happened to that child is necessary for the future that I have no idea
Okay.
what that future is.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm banking on my faith that since He's all knowing, He is all powerful, that suffering during that time is necessary for something in the future. So it's not to your point, an unnecessary suffering. So to me, it can be a necessary suffering for the future that I wouldn't, even if I die, I wouldn't have any idea what
Okay.
future that is.
Well, let's go back to my example with the baby deer that's in the
Yeah.
middle of a fire, that a lightning bolt started.
Yeah.
So does the baby deer have a soul?
I'm gonna answer you really honest. I do not know if animals has the same conscious soul.
Okay.
Same with
So we're not
humans.
sure, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if we don't know whether or not animals have a soul, because
Yeah.
I think your entire faith hinges on if babies suffer and die, it's because they're going to go to heaven, or God knows what is going to happen to their soul.
Mhm.
So, but if we don't know if the baby deer has a soul, and if it doesn't have a soul, and we see baby deer and animals suffer all the time, every day, for natural reasons,
Yeah.
why would a God allow that kind of suffering? Because that doesn't sound necessary, does it?
Yeah. That's the same question I've been having for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And my answer is, I'm just going back to my faith. Basically, it's entirely faith.
Okay.
No, I don't have any evidence. I don't have a conclusive answer to
You don't
that
have an answer.
question.
Yeah,
So
that's a hard one.
yeah,
And
my
okay.
but ultimately my answer is, there's something that He knows, that the God knows, that will happen in the
Mm-hmm.
future, that I don't.
Okay.
or probably other believers don't, or the humanity doesn't
Gotcha.
know, but he knows it.
Okay. If
So
if
he's the
God
only one who. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. If God's purpose was solely to see animals and babies suffer, how could you determine if that was true or not true?
If what was true.
If God's only purpose was to see animals and humans suffer, and that's why we have suffering, how would you be able to verify if that was true or not?
Again, I don't have the ability to verify
Yeah.
if it's
That's an honest answer. I
God's.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's God's main purpose to just see and observe suffering.
If okay. And
I
if
don't have a way to
hmm,
verify if God
okay.
just enjoys
Okay.
suffering
Okay.
or not.
So if you agree then that unnecessary suffering if you agree that allowing unnecessary suffering is not a loving thing to do, and we can't verify that God is only allowing suffering because he has to, because it is necessary. We can't prove that or verify that. What if you were worshiping an evil God? How would you be able to tell?
Yeah, that's also something I've thought
Mm.
before, and this just came to my mind.
Mhm.
One aspect is I'm a father, so I'm thinking God is our father. There are times where I would let my children suffer for them to learn, for them to get stronger,
Mhm.
and I don't want to control them every time. I know if they're gonna go down to that slide, they might hurt themselves, and then it happens.
Yeah.
But that's the best thing to teach them to be strong and what to do next time.
Okay.
So that's a necessary suffering for me.
Yeah.
So
I think I
that's
would
how I
agree with
see.
that. Yeah. I would agree that
Yeah.
that would be necessary suffering if you were a father. Like I'm a father. I have two
Yeah.
children, and there were times I let
Yeah.
them suffer within
Yeah.
reason. Because you're right. So it was to either learn a lesson or something like that. Excuse me. I totally agree with you on that. See, the difference though is that I don't control the environment. Like I can't control the amount of suffering that they can experience. Do you see what I mean? Because I didn't create the world. I didn't create all of existence. I didn't create this earth. I didn't create the conditions necessary that suffering would exist. Now,
Yeah.
let's just say I built a room for one of my children to sleep in, like babies to sleep in, and I put things in there that caused them to suffer. Would that be loving?
To my perspective, that wouldn't be loving.
Okay. Okay.
And for giving me for
Yeah. So
going on.
okay. So
So
you would
I'm
agree then?
thinking,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead and
yeah,
finish.
I'm thinking you want to compare that situation to what God is doing to us, right? That He placed us in a situation, in this reality where there's a lot of suffering and we can suffer. And since He did that, there's a big possibility that He is not a loving God. Is that
Yes,
right?
that's what I'm trying to say, because you would agree we didn't create earthquakes, right? We didn't create earthquakes. We
Yeah.
didn't create hurricanes. We didn't create drought because there's just simply not
Yeah.
enough water on the earth at times. It's dependent upon how much rain we get. And
And then that's where, sorry to cut you off, and that's where my faith goes in based on the scripture.
Mhm.
Initially, humans were placed in the Garden of Eden,
Mhm.
and that's a place where we can't be hurt. The suffering that's what's happening to us right now does not exist there. But because of humanity's curiosity, they touched the fruit and that's the reason they were banished from the Garden of
Got it. Yeah.
Eden. Yeah,
Okay. Now, you did earlier say that God is all knowing, right?
yeah.
Did God know eternally that if he put
What's gonna happen?
the tree of good knowledge of good and evil in the garden, that Eve would have eaten the fruit? Did he know that was going to
Yeah,
happen eternally?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yet he put that there anyway, right?
yeah.
Could God not have put that there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so he had a choice whether or not to put that tree there. And he knew eternally that if he put that tree there, that Adam and Eve would eat the fruit. But he put
Yeah.
it there anyway.
The serpent, yeah, the serpent would
And he
entice
knew
him
that
to eat
too.
that fruit.
Yep. He knew
Yeah,
all that was going
yeah,
to happen, yet he did it anyway.
yeah.
Okay.
And
So
honestly,
how is that the fault of Adam and Eve?
honestly, that's one of my struggles with my faith, and
Yeah.
I actually used AI asking that question,
Mm-hmm.
and it sort of arrived to the same conclusion that I have, that
I'd say the
it
serpent
was
was
partly
framed. Yeah. Serpent told the
yeah,
truth.
is that God um, knew that, and that was part of his plan all along.
Yeah.
And to him, that entire process is necessary for whatever plan he has uh, at the
It
end of
was
everything,
necessary, right?
Yeah.
And for what
Now,
though?
it all boils down to me as a human. I can never know what that plan is. So
Yeah.
it just boils down to faith, which is to believing that all those suffering, all those processes, although we already knows it, that man is gonna fall, the serpent's gonna do that and everything, all this suffering, he knows all of that, but he let it happen because it's part of the process, whatever that uh, process is,
Yeah.
up to the end of time, and I just have my faith that he will take care of all
Okay.
of us
So
at the end.
rock with me here for a minute. So
Yeah.
I have like an alternative idea about this,
Mhm.
that if God was evil and he put that tree there specifically to trap Adam and Eve so that he could blame them and all of humanity and and blame sin on humanity as an excuse to torture us in hell, and that the actual ones, and to give us a dilemma, that the ones who actually try to do good would actually go to
So the
hell.
serpent,
The ones who try to be good people, who do
yeah,
acts of good, are actually
yeah,
the ones that God sends to hell and tortures forever. And the ones who are evil, who do evil acts, like Schindler and the Yazis, the mustache man from Germany, he's in heaven.
mm,
The mass unaliver Jeffrey Schmammer, he's in heaven. The evil people are in heaven. The good people go to hell. And so this whole system is designed to separate the good from the evil, and God wants to send the evil people to heaven. And if my faith told me that was true, does that make it true?
yes, you mentioned that it's your faith, right?
Yeah.
That's the yeah.
Yeah. So if it's
So I
my
get
faith,
the
yeah, that God is actually evil
yeah,
and he's sending evil people to heaven and good people to hell, and I'm reading the Bible based on that. I read the Bible for that.
yeah, yeah.
Does that make it true if that's my faith?
Well, to you who has that faith, that's the truth because it's your faith.
Yeah, that's the truth. But that doesn't make it true
Yeah.
though, right?
Yet to people who doesn't have that faith, that's not the truth.
Correct.
That's not
Right.
reality.
It's not
Yeah,
reality,
yeah,
right? And so faith isn't a really good way to determine what's true and what's false, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So what's
to that situation.
okay? What's more important to you? To believe something on faith or to believe something it's true?
What's important to me is to live a life striving to connect the two. You know,
Faith and truth.
what's really true
What's really true?
and how it connects to my faith. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna live my life until I die, looking for those connections, and that's how I act my faith.
Okay. Yet we have about 30 seconds left. I'll start the kick poll now, but if they vote for you to stay, then we can continue on. This has actually been a pretty nice conversation. So
Yeah, I want to
this is
stay
pleasant.
actually, but
Yeah,
if they wanna
I think that
let,
would be
let me leave, it's
okay.
fine too. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Oh,
For this
absolutely.
conversation.
Yeah, this has been a very nice conversation. So I'm going to start it now, and then we can keep talking. So, okay. So on YouTube it started, and on TikTok I'm going to start it now. And you guys know what to do on TikTok. Happy face to keep the guest, crying face to move on to the next one. Okay, we got 131 people in chat, so we should get some good numbers to make this a fair vote. Okay, so Sards, because I think that the challenge that I have is that faith is used to justify a lot of religious beliefs, right? Like you could be a
Yeah.
Muslim, you could be a Buddhist, you can be a Hindu, you could be a Norse pagan, you can be a Wiccan, all kinds of different beliefs. And we've used faith all throughout humanity to justify our beliefs in whatever God, it applies to. So the ancient Egyptians used faith, the ancient Greeks used faith, the ancient Romans used faith, all the way down the line. Yet you would agree and the problem with that is that if faith makes something true, then that means all of those religions were true, and that can't be right. So, and I think you sense that because you said you're trying to bring the two together, faith and truth, right? And so if that's the case, if there's something that you have to believe is true based on faith, why even believe it in the first place?
Sorry, why do I even believe it?
Yeah, if there's something based on faith, because you agree that there's other religions all throughout human history in which people took it
Yeah.
based on faith, and you don't believe any of those are true, right? So those turned out not to be true. And so you're using the same method, faith, to believe in your God and believe that it's true, but their faith took them in the wrong direction. So
Yeah.
why would you believe
yeah.
it based on faith if it didn't work for
Yeah,
them?
because so far, again, going back to my experience,
Mm-hmm.
my faith always brought me to the right direction.
Okay.
At least in my own perspective, I've changed a lot because of my faith. I've been more responsible.
Yeah,
Been more mature. Been more loving and caring because of my faith.
I see.
So that's the reason why I have this faith, and
Well,
also the reason
Mhm.
I have this faith of Christianity as well versus being a Muslim or other faith. It's because it's the only religion where Jesus Christ, the Messiah, uh, there are no other messiahs that claim that they are the truth, the way, the life. It's just Jesus Christ who mentioned that of
okay.
all the messiahs in other religions.
Okay. Now, the interesting part about that is like Islam says there is no other God but Allah,
Yeah.
and Allah is most merciful, right? And Allah is all powerful. Allah is all this and all that. And now that is the only religion that claims an exclusive God. Even in the Bible, it just simply says you shall worship no other gods but me. It doesn't really say there are no other gods. But Allah makes a pretty unique claim. Islam does. It says there is no God but Allah. There's no other God. No other God exists. So if we're talking about unique claims, and then if we look at other religions, they have made unique claims as well.
Yeah.
So how does uniqueness make something true?
Um, First of all, I don't believe it as a fact that being unique uh, makes it true.
Okay.
That's just one of the reason why I have this faith, because of that uniqueness from
Hmm.
Jesus Christ. And there are other reasons that you might also be interested in why I believe this
Yeah.
in this faith, why I have this faith, Christianity.
Okay. Now, why does it important that a Messiah, why does there have to be a Messiah?
Yeah, that's the question also that I've struggled with for the longest time. Why not, God just directly talking with
Yeah.
us, from the heavens
Yeah.
in a loudspeaker, talking to humanity all the time.
Yeah.
And one of the main conclusion is he is testing us. It's part
Testing.
of it's part of the process that he wants us to go through.
Mm.
And again, it all boils down to whatever that plan of is, which is heaven, salvation based on the Bible. It all boils down to that's the process.
Okay.
He wants us to develop our faith, grow our faith. That's
Gotcha.
why he just disappeared and no one's talking
Well, the problem with that
to
though
us
is,
directly.
okay. Well, the problem with that, Sards, is that if God is all knowing, if God knows what's in our minds and hearts, he doesn't need to test us, right? Because he would already know, he would know whether or not we would pass or fail the test, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if he designed a test for us to fail, he knows that we would fail that test. Likewise, if he designed a test for us to pass, we would pass that test because he knows already what's in our minds and hearts. So a test doesn't really do anything. It's kind of worthless if you already know, because a test implies that the person giving the test doesn't know whether or not the person taking the test will pass or fail, right? That's what teachers do.
Yeah.
Teachers don't know for a fact if you know the material, so they give you a test.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But God already knows whether or not we know, or that we can pass or fail this test. So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me that he would have designed tests for us. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That seems kind of worthless.
And
Because if he knows what's in our minds and hearts, why wouldn't he just put us in heaven or hell?
yeah, I understand your perspective, because I also have that perspective for the longest time.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I used to be an atheist too back in high school.
Oh,
So that's I can relate.
okay.
Now, the reason behind that is this is not mentioned in the Bible. This
Mhm.
is something to some, when they hear this, what I'm about to say, you can say that it's just an excuse to keep my faith, to keep on worshiping God.
Mhm.
But what if this is just my theory? What if our life here on earth and this death is just one of many?
It's one of many.
Right? Yeah, this first life that we have is gonna test souls, humans, and they go to heaven. And then on the next iteration, let's say, of the next uh, world, or next physical world,
Mhm.
it's gonna happen again. But those who already been saved doesn't need to go through that process. And eventually, with those iterations, it keeps going. Eventually, people all human souls would be saved. Would be saved. Now, I'm assuming you might ask, why why go all through that
Yeah.
trouble then?
Yeah.
If you can just
It seems like a lot of
be,
trouble.
right there and then.
Yeah.
And my answer to that, and I'm not saying this is the truth, this is the reality, this is just what I believe in, is that he doesn't want to take away our free will, because
Mm.
that's the I think that's the main thing that makes us like his image, because he mentioned that in the
Mm-hmm.
Bible we're gonna make humans like into his image, and
Yeah.
that is freedom, our freedom to choose.
Now,
So it's willing to for us to go all through that process to be back with him, and just not just let us go all through that process. He just wants us to do it of our own free will.
well, I think that the problem with that also is that if we're here because of free will, did we, because there's just a couple ways I can go with this. So I guess I'll try both. I'll try both forks. So did we have free will when we came to Earth? Like I don't remember choosing to be here. So was that free will
Free will of our
of our,
parents.
yeah, it's the free will of our parents, but we don't have free
Yeah.
will, right? Nobody, there was no choice for me to be here.
Based on what I know right now, yes, I agree with you that
Yeah.
uh,
So that's
we
God
don't
taking
have
away our
to
free will.
remember.
Yeah, we didn't have free will to choose to be here.
Yeah, but using my imagination, just going outside of what I know. What if this is a hypothetical situation? What if we already had consciousness prior to going here on Earth, and
I
we
mean,
had a decision?
it's a what
Do
if.
you want to go?
I
Yeah,
know Islam says that. Islam says we decided before we came here. I don't
yeah,
know if I believe that.
that's
I
the
don't think
thing.
I
Yeah.
believe that. The other thing though is that, see, the other thing with an agreement or like a covenant or a contract is that there has to be a meeting of the minds, right? And so why would then, if we did agree to come here, why would we not remember that? Because wouldn't that be an important thing to remember?
Yeah. Because again, this is just my my what if.
Yeah. But if we
Yeah.
don't remember SARDS, then did
Yeah.
we actually give consent?
One situation that comes to mind is that we voluntarily agreed not to remember.
Okay.
The situation, we're already in heaven, and God, or whoever, or the angels, is asking you, they want to go down there and live life as a human, and process your soul, grow your faith, and then we decide yes or no. Okay, when you go down, you're gonna forget everything here. You're gonna remember it once you go back,
Well,
meaning when you die.
okay. Well, see, one of the problems also with that is that one of the parts of consent is that it can be revocable. It can be reversible, right?
Yeah.
So even if we did decide, let's just say you're right. We did decide at some point, we all decided to come here. And we decided this is where we want to be, but we don't remember. Now you would agree that there are some people who would want to take that back, right? Because we have people who try to unalive themselves. Isn't that a way of saying, I don't want to be here anymore? So they're trying to revoke it.
Yeah.
And what does the Bible say if you try to unalive yourself?
You go to hell.
You go to hell, right? So that's not consent. That's the problem. That's not consent. That means that God took away our consent, which in turn means that he took away our free will. Because if you have free will to decide to come here, then you must also have free will to decide to return. It has to be revocable. That's what consent is all about. And so that means we didn't have consent, or the consent was taken away, which means we don't have consent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that made me think. That definitely challenged my
Yeah.
faith.
Yeah. And then here's another way to look at free will. Is there free will in heaven?
To me, my conclusion is free will in heaven is not the same free will that we have here on earth.
In what way?
That can't really say, but I can come up with some idea. Part of which is we are not aware of suffering anymore. It doesn't occur to us,
Okay.
uh,
So
in our mind,
okay.
in our heavenly bodies.
So we could have had that same, we could have just either gone straight to heaven, or we could have that same type of free will down here, right?
And my belief is that's the same free will that we have when Adam and Eve was in the garden.
Okay. So it's the same free. So Adam and Eve got a different kind of free will than what's up in heaven. But we could have had the same, because God could have made it so that Adam and Eve had the same free will as it is in heaven, right?
Yeah.
He could have created it that way. But for some reason, he gave us a different free will. This kind of free will, it sounds like this kind of free will is what determines whether or not you go to heaven or hell. But then the other problem with that is that since God is all knowing and all loving, and he's known through eternity whether or not you and I will go to hell, right? Heaven or hell. He already knows it. I'm just assuming that God is real. If what you say is true, that God has eternal knowledge, God has always known whether or not you and I will go to heaven and hell, right? He's always known that.
Yeah.
So again, what's the point of being here if he already knows what we're going to do?
Yeah, I guess it all boils down to that. Why go through all that
Why go
process
through it?
if
Yeah.
you're all-knowing?
It doesn't make sense. Like, why not just put us either in heaven or put us straight to hell, or not create us in the first place? Why even create us in the first place? Because, there are some people who are created who suffer, right? And so then they just suffer, and it's because of the fallen world, because of Adam and Eve. It's a fallen world. They suffer, they die, and then they either go to heaven or hell. Why not just send them straight there? That doesn't make any sense. There are babies who are born with cancer, who are born suffering. Why?
Yeah, I agree, and that's my
It makes no sense.
biggest challenge. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my biggest challenge in my faith.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to my answer earlier.
Mhm.
There are a lot of things I don't really know why we should go through that. Why does all those children need to go through so much suffering?
Yeah.
And it basically all boils down to
It's
faith,
God's plan.
not knowing. Yeah,
Okay.
not knowing and still believe.
Yeah. And then the problem also with that, if it's just we don't know and it's God's plan, which is, it's honest for you to say that. I appreciate that. But if we don't know, it's all God's plan. So it's not making sense to us because, we're just not smart enough to understand. Then by that logic, we also would not understand if God were evil. If God were an evil God and was putting us here specifically to suffer, then there's no reason why that isn't true. Because if we don't know God's mind, if we don't know God's plan, that could be the plan.
So by knowing if that's actually or not, I cannot claim that if
Yeah.
is not or not. But
Yeah.
based on my faith, what I believe in, I believe that he is not evil.
Sure.
And I base that, I base that on my experience.
On your
'cause
experience. Yeah.
I've been through sufferings too in my life, losing someone,
Yeah.
a heartbreak, hardships,
Mm-hmm.
physical pain as well.
Yeah.
And based on my experience, after going through that suffering, there was always salvation, peace, growth, and something better
Okay.
after that suffering. Now,
Now-
going back to what you mentioned,
Mhm.
I cannot imagine what's after, children being born, having disease, suffering, and then just dying. That's their whole experience
And
here
we
on
have
Earth.
hundreds of thousands, if not millions of children who do that every year. Yeah.
Yeah.
All across the world.
And yeah, that's why I question my faith, I challenge my faith as well, because it's easy for me to say, because I haven't experienced that, even I don't know someone, actually know someone who has a child that went through all of that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm still gonna have the same answer if I experience it firsthand.
hmm
But what I believe in is that suffering, there's something that's better after that.
Okay.
It's necessary because there's something, God has a plan after that suffering
Okay.
for them.
All right. Well, let me ask you. We got about 3 minutes left, and it's the next kick bowl, but you might actually last to the next one, but we can keep talking. But I've kind of another way to look at this. So, which I understand what you're saying, and so if we're getting to the parts where, well, I'm not sure, which again is an honest answer on your part.
Yeah.
It's just the problem is that if we're not sure and we can't verify it, I'm struggling to understand why anyone would believe it, right? But here's another way I can look at it. So like if we look at it like if this, like you said, this God you have experienced suffering, you have experienced hard times, but there's always been something good that came out of it in the end. That's what it sounds like. Or there's some good things that have happened in your life too. And I'm the same way. I've had a lot of good things happen in my life. I've had a lot of things bad happen in my life. A lot of bad things have happened to me. And but that doesn't lead me to conclude then there must be a God because things ended up good, It just means that it just seems like that's just the ups and downs of life. Now, here's one thing that also is a struggle for me to understand. If, for example, because we've been talking a lot about suffering, if you saw a child suffering and you had the power to stop it, would you stop it?
If part of the power is seeing what will happen after that child suffers, and I don't see anything good, I would definitely stop it.
Okay. So,
If part of my powers is I see that there's a reason why it needs to happen in the future.
Mhm.
Again, this is just hypothetical. Maybe because of that, it wouldn't be tainted of all the evils here on earth. That's why the child needed to suffer, and just die, and then his soul goes to heaven, and automatically becomes something more powerful than us. Then I might conclude not to save that child at that
okay.
point.
So we can kind of test that, right? So if you saw, let's just say you saw a child getting raped and you had the power to stop it. However, you knew that it would lead to, I don't know, it would guarantee that the child would go to heaven. All right. Would you then let that child be raped, or would you stop it?
Based on my just based on my on that premise, I would let the child just be great.
Oof. That's rough to hear, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really, really hard to hear.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But it's honest. It's honest. All right. Well, we're at 0, so we're going to do another kick poll. Okay, everybody. Let's do another kick poll. And
can you repeat the
question?
again?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, let me
I
start the
didn't
kick poll and
understand.
I'll repeat it, and then you'll have a chance to answer. So,
Yeah.
give me 1 second. All right, everybody. We're doing a second kick poll for SARDS. Still been a good talk. It's taken a tiny bit of a rough turn, but we'll see how it ends up. But it's still been overall pleasant. But okay, it started on the YouTube side, but TikTok side, same thing. Happy face to keep SARDS, or crying face, tap the crying face emoji to move on to the next guest. And we have a nice list of people waiting. So, all right. So everybody vote. And here, I'll re-ask the question. So my question to you was, Sards, if you saw a child getting graped and you have the power to stop it, and you know that that because this child is getting graped, it's guaranteed to go to heaven, would you stop it, or would you let the child be graped?
Well, I have the power to
You have the power to stop
see
it,
if, yeah,
and
and
you
do I
know
have
for a
the
fact
power?
it will go to heaven. Yes.
Yeah, and do I have the power to see if that's the only way or that's the best way for that child to go to heaven?
No,
I
you
mean, do I
just
have the
you just know
power
it's a
to see
guarantee that the child will
what
go to
the
heaven.
way?
If it's if you because it's being graped, it's a guarantee that it will go to heaven. It's guaranteed.
Just adding a little bit more to the to the situation, to the premise. Is there a chance for the child to go to heaven outside of that situation?
You don't know. You just know that if the child is graped in this situation, it's a guarantee 100% that it will go to heaven.
Okay.
But you don't
But
know.
then
That's what you know. Yeah, that's what you know. You don't
okay.
know anything
Well
else.
then, I'll go back to my faith then, to the scripture, that salvation is given by God. It's not through our acts. So I'm gonna save that child there.
You're going to save the child.
Uh, yeah,
Okay.
because
Oof.
if I don't save him,
All right.
it's a guarantee that he's gonna go to heaven. Now, if I do save him, there's still that
Still a chance it won't go to
salvation
heaven. Yeah.
of
Still
God.
but yeah, you're right. There's still a chance it won't. There's a
Yeah,
chance it won't go to heaven, but there's a chance that it will. Yes. You just don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's right.
Okay.
So with what I
That's a
know
better
and
answer.
with the power that I have in that situation,
Yeah.
yeah, I might have misunderstood the question earlier. With what I know and with the power that I have in that situation, I'm definitely gonna stop it because I'm gonna revert back to my faith that
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
All right. Well, hey, Sards, they did vote to move on to the next guest, but I do appreciate it.
yeah.
Was a good talk.
All
I
right, thank
appreciate you
you.
coming up. But come back anytime.
Yep, trust.
All right.
Yep, thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a nice
Have a
rest
good
of the
day.
day.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Ooh, yeah, he saved that one. I'm just glad he didn't double down on that. That would have been rough. That would have been really rough. So, whew, goodness. And I feel kind of bad because it might have tainted the vote, but that's all right. It was probably time to move on anyway. Yeah, that was probably it might have been bad timing on my part to ask that right before the vote, but hey, sometimes I can't think ahead like that, right? I can't think ahead, but that was a pretty good conversation. You think it was good timing? So it might have been, maybe that's just the way it was. I don't know. I enjoyed talking to him, so it was a nice talk. Okay, no super chats, so that's all right. So we're caught up on super chats, and we're doing well with the gift goal, so that's great. So okay, we're nice and we're like content here. Yeah, just more taps, more shares. We only have 58 on the TikTok side. If we can get to 100, over 100 shares, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. So I know there's 6 guests waiting in TikTok, and there are none right now in YouTube, but I do have to use the restroom. I have, just out and about in my day job, because I go out and about from time to time, I have found a place that has free soda water in their dispenser. And so I just hit that like twice a day. And so I've been drinking a lot of water lately. So I have to go to the bathroom. So I will be right back, everybody. Okay. So stay tight. Give me a couple minutes. We're going to do the BRB screen and turn off the mic. I'll be right back. Okay, thanks for waiting. Welcome. I'm back. All right. Thank you all for your patience. Appreciate that. So we have to kind of reset things. All right. Very good. Okay. Nightbot can bite me. Oh boy. Nightbot. Not letting people in chat say whatever they want. Well, that's why we have things called boundaries. So when we have boundaries, what usually happens is there are some people who don't like boundaries and they cry about them. Well, that's just too bad. Okay, let's go on to the next guest. So if you are waiting in my queue, there's 7 of you waiting, so appreciate that. Please be sure that you are at least 18. You believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, or at absolute minimum, you believe in a mind that created the universe. And also, you have evidence that God is real. So we'll move on to our next guest. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hello.
How old are you?
I am 30.
30? Okay. And thanks for waiting. Which God do you believe in? The God of the Bible, the God of the Torah, the God of the Quran?
Yeah. God of the Bible, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Fantastic. Okay. And I got to adjust my pillow a little bit. Okay. What's your best evidence that God is real?
My best evidence is just. It's hard because when you have experienced him in your life, there's no way to describe it physically or mentally. It's really like an overwhelming emotion, but it's not of myself, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Not really, but I talk to like other people of other religions that describe it the same exact way. So how did you take me through the method or the steps that you use to determine that this is the God of the Bible that you experienced and not something else?
Through a lot of reading and seeking, obviously, so the Bible says that, of course, someone said that the ark was debunked. I don't understand what they mean by the ark was debunked and not proof that God, because he said that Noah's ark is resting on that mountain in Turkey, and we found it there on the mountain in Turkey. But he's saying that it's been debunked. I don't know how it's been debunked, but cool. That's their belief on that. I believe that we have found that it is there because they said it's there. We've seen the images. They've searched it. They believe, and they have the concrete. They believe that it is the ark.
Okay.
Because it is where it is said. Also, with my own processes, when I was a very little girl, I was being sexually abused by my brother.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
My mother and father knew. They did not do anything. They left me with him. They believed in God. They showed me to God. They taught me the Bible. They took me through church. They did nothing. So how could someone be led through all that and not believe that someone is with them, holding their hand, saying, "It's okay, I'm with you."
Yeah.
Whether or not you were meant to go through it or not. My mother was sexually abused. My mother's mother was sexually abused. I can see the connection of the generational curses, the family curses that have been brought on us from the beginning of when Adam and Eve disobeyed.
I see. So would you say then that I too was essayed when I was little. So I know I have an idea of what happened. All right. At least I know I have a good idea of the aftermath.
It's
So
very confusing.
oh yeah, absolutely. Very confusing. And it wreaked a lot of havoc on a lot of my adult life. Now, would you say then that God had the power to prevent you from being essayed? Us. How about I say it like this? Did God have the power to protect us from being essayed? Or does God have the power?
I believe that he does have the power, but I also do believe that even though, yes, he can control the circumstances, doesn't mean that he should. Just
Okay.
like us. Because
Okay.
we can doesn't mean we should. Like, should we, just because everyone's jumping off that cliff to cliff jump into the water, does that mean that we should? Should we follow them jumping off the cliff into the water?
No, absolutely not. I'm not sure it's the same thing, because I think the other part of this is that, do you think our parents had the power to stop it or prevent it?
Oh, hell yes. I was very
Okay.
resentful against my parents for saying that, like, you know, trying to debunk the fact that they could have done something. They could have called the police. They could have
Yeah.
punished him. Not punished him, wrong, disciplined him better into saying, this is what you're doing.
Or like
You're
not left
just
you alone
hurt
with them? Yeah. Right?
or not left me, but they
Yeah.
did. And that also, but it also bring bravery. It also became the fact of, I may be on my own with the people in this world. The people do not care about me, but the one person who does care about me is the one who made me.
Okay. Would you say then,
That is made in his image.
okay.
And I believe
Okay, I hear you. And would you say then that did your parents, or did our parents, did they do the right thing or the wrong thing?
they did the wrong thing.
They did the wrong
They
thing.
definitely did the wrong thing.
Okay.
But it's not my place. I have called on them and said that, you know, this is my pain.
Mhm.
This is where I'm at. I don't want your excuses. I
Yeah.
just want you to see me, be where I'm
Got it.
at.
Got it.
Meet me where I'm at. Don't
Okay.
try and push it off or
Mhm.
say, nah, like it wasn't like that. Meet me. This is what Jesus does.
Yeah.
And this is how I felt like for a long time. I didn't see him. I didn't believe. I believed that everything, my childhood, my innocence, was taken away.
Mhm.
And that was the first lie that I believed.
Yeah. And okay. And so I'm trying to understand then the difference, because if our parents had the power to take it to prevent SA from happening or to stop it, and they didn't, we would consider, because I agree with you. I think my parents did the wrong thing too. Yet God not stopping it or not preventing it was that the wrong or right thing to do for God?
I still question him. I haven't really found his answer yet. I'm just trying to really let him open my eyes and my heart to the things that I didn't see. Just because that storm was there and darkening everything doesn't mean that there wasn't a light. Doesn't mean that there wasn't someone holding my hand. And that's the thing about faith, is when we walk in faith, we say, when you go into the water, you have to swim or you will drown. Yes?
Mm.
But
So
Jesus says,
Mhm.
look at me and you will walk over that water.
Yeah. So
I'm just putting my eyes on him and trusting the fact that as the further I step out into that water where the waves are huge and distract me, just like Peter
yeah.
was in the water with him in that faith, in that moment. Even though he did fall, he grabbed him. Even in that moment, he still had his hand going, I am here. All you have to do is take my hand.
Okay.
I didn't believe that.
If
I didn't have faith enough in the moment in that He can deliver me out of it in that moment. I didn't put faith in that. I put faith in myself,
Yeah.
in faith in the people to protect me.
Okay, I understand. So I guess because then if I kind of look at the parallel, like, let's just
Yeah.
imagine, would it have been the right thing to do if our parents held our hand while we were being essayed, like God held our hands?
If anything, in that moment, I would have wanted my parents to stop it because they had the power
Right.
to. God
And God has the
can't,
power to stop it,
like,
right?
God has the power to stop it, but He puts people in our lives to help us with those things as well.
Okay.
And without people that truly have faith in Him and believe Him, will be there for you. And that's the thing about faith and belief, is that we're trying to focus and look at what other people are doing in our lives that do not show Him at all. None of us do. We all lie. We all
Mhm.
depend on our actions and how we feel.
Do you?
And what
I have a
we
quick
lie to
question.
ourselves
Yeah, quick
so
question.
much.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think God knew that you and I did not want to be essayed?
Yes.
Okay. So I think he knew our mind and heart, right? Why didn't God give us what we wanted?
Because it's
Because
not about what we want.
it's not about what we
need.
want. It's not about what we want or need.
No.
It's about what God wants
It's
or
about-
needs. So you're saying that God wanted us or needed us to be essayed?
It's not a. I don't think it was wanted or needed. It was about the facts of this was something generational, family. It wasn't of Him. It was from the fruit and the spirit of Jezebel or Ishtar,
If it
and all of those
okay.
false gods come from Satan.
If
They are his followers. They are
okay.
his. Satan's put those people in our lives. Put
If
them here.
okay.
For a greater purpose.
If
He
I
uses the evil to turn it into good.
okay. Now I have a 15-year-old daughter, and likewise it was generational in my family too. Like, people before me in my family were essayed. Not by the same person, but it happened in my family
Yeah.
too.
And,
So
keep going and going.
did I do the right thing or the wrong thing by making sure that my daughter did not get essayed?
You did the right thing.
I did the right
do
thing?
the same thing.
Okay. Well,
Like,
because of what you just
Sophie.
said, you said that it was
The same-
because it was a generational thing, and that it was, God had it. Almost, you're sounding like you're saying that God had to let this happen. So why would it be the right thing for you and me to not let our children be essayed?
because it was the thing that parents did not do for us. It was
Right.
the right
I
thing
understand.
that our parents do.
Yeah. I guess I'm just trying to understand that if it was the right thing for us to not let our children get essayed, yet it was the right thing for God to let us get essayed.
I know it's confusing.
It doesn't
know.
make sense because, what would have been better for you and me to get essayed or not get essayed? What would be better?
I believe that I made my family stronger and wiser in the fact of these sexual immoralities that are around us that subject us to being sexualized as a young age. We're still sexualized children today, going, "Oh, she's beautiful. She's gonna be a manslayer. Oh, look at this boy. He's gonna have all the women." What are we teaching our children when we say that?
Yeah, I
We have
agree.
all
I think that happens a lot.
bad
Yeah.
parents and our grandparents. They say all these things. Why should we do the same? If we keep repeating what they did, they're just going to end up the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're still gonna get hurt. We're not gonna be able to prevent things all the time. Just
Okay.
like when our kids ride a bike up the road, are we gonna be able to sprint there in time to catch them, or are we gonna have to pick them up and brush them off and put a
Mm.
band-aid on their knee and love them and say it's okay, get up, try again,
Yeah. Well,
or
this
it's
is
okay.
more than a Band-Aid, right? Like BNS8 is a lot more than just skinning your knee.
It's
It's pretty
your knee,
traumatic, right?
yes,
Yeah, it's almost like
like,
it's a pretty traumatic
but
thing to happen. Yeah.
he calls us to
Mhm.
come to him as we are and messy, mommy, and
Well,
we hard because like we have to rely on something bigger than ourselves. If we rely on ourselves more than something that bigger than us, what are we doing? Walking around with our head stopped off?
well, I mean, I
This
don't know.
examples of our
Are you saying I'm like walking
ancestors.
around with my head chopped off? Because, you know,
I feel like sometimes I'm walking around with my head chopped off. I feel like I'm walking in blind spots all the time.
oh, sure, I
But
do
I
too
have
at times.
But the fact of Jesus is to have the faith that even though it's dark around us, even though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, his light, his rod is in front of us, shining, going, the victory has already been won. The path is right there.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is have the faith
Okay. Well,
and boldness.
okay. So if I'm hearing you right, then, because I kind of want to go back to something. If I'm hearing you right, you said you think the purpose of what happened to you is so that you can make your family stronger. Are you saying then that if that hadn't happened to you, your family wouldn't be the same right now? It would be weaker?
I think that if I didn't even if it did happen, I didn't have at that time, I didn't have the strength to be brave and stand up for myself
Well, yeah,
and
you were a
say
little
no.
girl. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what happens. A
And
lot of little kids don't have that understand, and it's
yeah,
confusing because they don't know what's happening.
and when you don't have that support of actual people,
Yeah.
what do you do? Do you just let it continue happening, or do you stand up for yourself?
Well, I mean, I was really small, so I think you stand up as best as you can, but sometimes just saying no isn't enough, right? Because
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes people are that's the thing that was fearful,
yeah,
was being thought in the attack moment of, are they going to kill me if I say no? Are they just going to rip my clothes and still force me to do this? Are they still
yeah,
going to get me on my knees and moan and beg me to moan for them in the moments for their pleasure?
yeah. Well, I guess I'm trying to understand then why, if God is, like, you believe God is all powerful and all knowing?
I do,
Okay.
but I also believe that when he put the tree of good and evil in the garden,
Yeah.
it was proved that even though we were going to do the wrong thing, he still loves us.
Well,
Even though he decided to sin and disobey the one rule, one damn rule, one rule.
right. Well,
They were both because Adam is her leader. He is meant to love, preach, protect her. He
now,
was not there to love, preach, and protect her.
okay. Now, you would agree, though, that this was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? So before they ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they didn't know what good and evil were, right?
They only knew what good was. They did not know
Well, it says the knowledge of
evil-
good and evil. So,
knowledge of good and evil.
yeah, so they didn't
They
know what
knew
good was, right?
from God, but they did not know goods and evils of ourselves.
So
What comes
then,
from the
okay, is it evil to disobey God?
Yes.
Yes.
And I guess we do it all the time.
Yeah, so it's
it would
evil to
be-
disobey God, right? And And they were
Yes.
disobeying God by eating the fruit, right? Which means that they didn't know that disobeying God would be evil. So they didn't know it was a bad thing to do.
God told Adam from the very beginning.
Yeah, don't eat the fruit. Don't eat whatever you want, but don't eat the fruit of this tree. If you do, you will surely die.
So, yes, he told
Okay.
them, "You will surely die.
Yeah.
Eat from the fruit."
But
And they
you
did.
you
What
did
they
acknowledge though that disobeying God is evil. So Adam did not know that disobeying God was evil. He didn't know that because
No,
he had not
did not know that.
right, he didn't
But he
know.
knew that.
So
He knew
he knew it
that
was wrong? How?
he was told that if he did, he would die. When your parents tell you, "Don't do that, you're gonna die," you want your kids not to do that, right? But they're
Yeah.
gonna do it anyway, aren't they?
But that's
Because
because
of
they
their
don't know it's bad, right? They don't know better. That's why they
No.
do what they do, right?
They're curious.
Yeah, they're curious,
wanna
but they
know.
don't know any better. Right. They don't know any better.
What? No, because all they knew was what was good, what's good going on around them, the
Mhm.
blessings, the love that's around them.
Okay.
They-
So if they don't know any better, and because like our kids, like, yeah, my daughter's 15 now, but when she was, what sounds like I hear your kids in the background, when she was that age, there were a lot of things she didn't know any better. And
Yeah, like
so
telling them don't do furniture and they
Yeah.
damage the furniture.
like she wanted to, like, she had this bad habit of running into the street. Okay. She had a really,
Yeah.
really bad habit of that. And it was very frustrating. And no matter how many times I told her not to run into the street, she would continue to run in the street. And she did not understand you'll get hit by a car. She didn't know what that meant. And that's why she kept
Yeah.
running into the street. And
Exactly. They did
right. So,
what kind of death he
Yeah.
was talking about.
okay. So would I have been a good parent if I continued to let her run in the street? And just said, well,
No,
I
but-
told her not to run in the street and it's her fault if she gets hit. I told her she would
No.
die if she got hit by a car. But if she doesn't understand what that means, how is that effective in telling her don't run into the street? If she has no idea what that
We-
means.
Yeah. In the fact of, we'll go back to how we understand now that we were curious.
Starting
we
to poll
didn't
everybody.
truly
Mhm.
what he was meaning by "we'll be dead if we eat from that tree."
Yeah, I would say that that Adam and Eve didn't know what that meant, or at least Adam didn't know what that meant. And
No.
because he
And-
didn't really
and-
tell Eve not to eat the fruit. He just
don't
told Adam.
What?
All right,
Truly
starting to
still
kick poll
are
everybody.
dead.
So
Sorry.
everybody can vote. Yeah.
But sorry, I'm
No,
getting
no.
lost.
Go ahead.
So what was it going? Yes, death and the road situation.
Yeah.
See, the road is completely different to the tree because you're talking about literal death, literal car hitting, killing.
Mhm.
He's talking about the spiritual death,
And-
disconnection from the Father.
And that
When
sounds a
you are
lot more complicated.
spiritual.
Yeah.
It is very complicated because you got to think it's not about flesh and blood. It's about principalities.
Right.
The prince of power.
Right.
It's
But they didn't
the
know that,
spirit.
right?
No, they did not understand that God Himself wasn't just a being. He was spiritual. He is spiritual. They knew Him. He came down and visited them every day in the garden. They knew Him.
Hmm. All right. Well, hey, BM, they did vote to move on to another guest, but hey, I appreciate you coming up and talking to me.
No, thank you for
All right.
listening.
All right. Well, have a good day. Take care.
Find Him.
Bit of a reset there. All right. That was something. That was quite the conversation. Oh, okay. We move on to another guest. Yeah, we're getting through them pretty well. So still have the link over on the YouTube side. I think, until we get more traction on YouTube, we're going to have like 1 or 2 per live. So let's move on. It's probably, I think I have more guests today because they can actually read my prompt. I think that's why. All right. So I think we have a member, or we have a mod announcement here. God damn it. God damn it. Oh my goodness. Tried bringing you up, Double E. It's just not cooperating. You might have to jump over to the YouTube side just to get up if you have an announcement. That might be the move because it's still delaying. Saying you're on, but I see the little red and blue balls spinning. So maybe that's the way you have to go. You have to jump over to YouTube real quick and just request up if you have something to say to us, because it's just not cooperating. Oh, goodness. Okay. So again, if you're in the guest queue, please be at least 18. Please be a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. Okay, we'll hold on a sec. Holding. And also, please have evidence that God is real. So we got 7 waiting. So, all right. But I'm going to wait for Double E here for a minute or 2, because I think the esteemed mod has something important to say. So probably something real quick, but we've just been having like this issue with their connection here to request up. But so please watch out for trauma dumping and graphic language guests. Is that what the announcement is? I should do a so I think what you're telling me is I gotta do a trigger warning. Yeah, because they got a bit triggering for me at times. So yeah, that was heavy. Yeah. Glad I got a lot of therapy under my belt to get through that. Okay. Thank you, Double E. I will be a little bit more aware of that. Yeah. So I will, when it gets triggering like that, if we're talking about stuff like that, I will be sure to say trigger warning. Might want to walk away for a minute or come back in like 15 minutes. Because that was, yeah, I agree. So I'm sorry. That was my fault. I allowed that to happen. So, and see, I had the power to stop it, which means I'm responsible. Okay, let's move on to our next guest. Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
Hey, not much. How old are you?
23.
23? Okay. And which God do you believe in?
The God of the Bible, Hebrew Bible, Christian.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks for waiting, by the way. And what is your best evidence that God is real?
Yeah, I think the best evidence is the prophecies in the Hebrew Bible, prophecy in the book of Daniel, especially about the coming of the Son of Man and God's kingdom coming to earth.
Okay.
That's the best evidence.
Okay. And so the best evidence is the prophecies. And okay. And you said specifically the one in Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel chapter 7. Also Daniel chapter 9.
Hmm.
But I think it's best if we just focus on like Daniel chapter 7,
Okay.
just for
Okay. So
argument's sake.
specifically that one. And then
Mhm.
how do we, and then, okay. And so take me through like the elements of why you think that came true.
Well,
I mean, we can bring it
Matthew
up too.
24.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course. But there's the Olivet Discourse, which appears in many places, where Jesus gives a sermon on the Mount of Olives, and
Uh-huh.
he says, "This temple you see now will be destroyed within a generation, just like the prophet Daniel spoke about." If you go to the book of Daniel, it does describe the temple being destroyed.
Hmm.
It does describe a fourth empire. This it describes as a beast, that there will be 11 kings which come from this beast, and that this beast will be destroyed, it'll be slain, and that this figure, this one like a son of man, which Jesus claims he is, will come and inherit all the kingdoms of the world,
Okay.
and all the kingdoms of the world will, like, people from all nations will worship him
Now that hasn't happened yet
alongside
though,
God.
right? None of that part hasn't happened yet, right?
I think so.
You think it has happened? So Jesus is king of all the nations?
Yeah.
He is. How, in what way?
Mhm. Well, he's seated at the right hand of the Father, and people from all nations pretty much worship him from
Okay.
all
So
over the world.
Saudi Arabia?
There are Christians in Saudi Arabia, yes.
Okay. Saudi Arabia worships Jesus?
People from Saudi Arabia do.
Yeah, but not everybody in Saudi Arabia worships Jesus, right?
No.
No. Iran?
There are Christians in Iran.
There are, but is the government is that affiliated in any way with Jesus?
No.
Okay. What about China?
Well, same thing. Christians in China, but the government doesn't.
Yeah. Vietnam?
Same story.
Same thing, right? So,
Hmm.
okay. So now isn't it though that to be a king you have to be recognized as a king?
Yes.
Okay. But none of those countries that I listed recognize Jesus as the king of their country. So Jesus isn't a king of their country. So he's not a king of all the nations.
Well, what does it mean to be a king of the country? Does that mean every single person in that country has to believe that Jesus is king for him to be king of that
No,
country?
you have to be, but you have to be a ruler. That's just the same thing as saying, well, I don't agree that, I didn't vote for the president and I don't consider the president my president. However, that doesn't mean he's not the president. It just means,
Mhm.
yeah. So in that sense, yes. However, you look at what the government is doing. Are they taking orders from Jesus? Are they, is the Bible forefront and center in these countries? Not in the least. Like they don't, yeah, like Jesus is not recognized as the leader of these countries or the ruler of these countries at all. So he's not a king. So that means that
Yeah, I
prophecy
guess
has
it
not
depends on
come
your
true.
definition.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you want to change definitions, yeah, you can make anything true, right? But
Well, I would ask, like, what does the prophecy specifically say? Does it say that every single kingdom or nation will worship
it
Jesus, or
said
that
all the
people
nation.
from
Well,
every
you read it.
nation?
It said all the nations, right?
I guess I paraphrase, so I'll just read it literally from, what is this, the NIV? Uh, where's the verse? Where's the end? Uh, then the sovereignty, power, and greatness of all the kingdoms under heaven will be handed over to the holy people of the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdoms, and all rulers will worship and obey him.
All the rulers would worship and obey. And we've already established not
Mm,
all the rulers worship and obey Jesus.
yeah, that's fair. No.
Okay. So he's not a king.
Oh,
So,
he's a king, but not in a total absolute sense.
okay. But isn't that what a king
Yeah.
is in a total absolute sense, a king is a king? Like, because anybody
don't know.
could call themselves a king. That doesn't make them a king, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if that's if the designation is just to claim you're a king, then I'm a king. I'm a king too,
Hmm.
right? And then if I can get at least one person from every nation to recognize me as king, am I a king?
No.
Right. So that doesn't. So what would designate me a king then? What would qualify me as a
Well,
king?
Jesus, he's standing before Pilate and he says, my kingdom is not of this world. So he's not a worldly king. He's a king in a spiritual sense.
Wait, I don't think you answered my question. What would qualify me as a king? So if let's just say I'm saying to you right now, I'm a
You're
king.
monarch,
I'm a monarch.
a
Yeah.
constitution,
Okay.
having a throne, I guess, being able to make laws,
Okay.
decrees,
Does Jesus do all
having
of
an
those things
army.
right now? Does Jesus have an army?
No. Well,
Does
yes, army of angels, but
okay.
no, in
Well,
like a
okay.
worldly sense.
Okay. But no army we can see, right? And has he passed any laws?
Mm,
I'm just
sort of,
I'm
like he
using your
makes
criteria.
commands.
I'm using your criteria.
I don't think you are, because like the Bible is
Yeah,
clear about
just
what Jesus describes himself as, the kind
okay.
of king he is.
Well, I know
And
you're
so that's
trying
a
to
different
pivot to that,
criteria.
but I asked you, well, why is it different? I asked you what would qualify me as a king, and you listed some examples, and I'm
Yeah,
asking
but
you, has Jesus done any of these things? And he hasn't.
well, what I'm saying is that's a loaded question,
Okay.
because it's loaded with the assumption of what a king is in like a
Okay.
worldly sense.
All right. So if you change it to an otherworldly sense, then he's a king. And what if somebody doesn't agree with what your definition of a king is?
Well,
Is
let
he
me
still a
rephrase
king?
the argument. Let me rephrase the argument so we're on the same page. Like the argument is this, right? The Bible makes a claim.
Mm-hmm.
If that claim comes true, like prophetically, the prophets make the claim comes true. That is evidence for the Bible, right?
Yeah, and I'm pushing back on that because I don't see that it's come true because he's not a king.
But what is the claim that the Bible's making?
Well, I just went by what you just read. You said that all the kingdoms of all the kingdoms of the world would worship and obey Jesus, and we can clearly see that's not happening. I mean, I just rattled off a few countries off the top of my head, and that's not true. They're not all worshiping Jesus, right? I mean, we have a whole block of Muslim countries that aren't worshiping Jesus right now. Indonesia, United Arab Emirates, I can just go right off the top of my head. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Egypt.
So that part hasn't been fulfilled
Israel.
yet, but
well, then it's not
Israel,
a prophecy. Yeah, it's not a prophecy if it hasn't been fulfilled.
That part isn't.
Right.
But
so you can't call it a prophecy because it hasn't been fulfilled yet. Hasn't been fulfilled. It's not a prophecy.
Correct. That part, you're right. But this has been fulfilled. It says that the fourth beast would be destroyed, and that there'd be 10 horns that would come from it. And the angel gives the interpretation. So there's no doubt about the interpretation. It's not like I'm making up an interpretation. It says, he gave me this explanation. This is straight from Daniel. The fourth beast is a fourth kingdom that will appear on the earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms. It will devour the whole earth, trampling it down, crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings, which will come from this kingdom. Another king will arise, different from the earlier ones. He will subdue 3 kings. So how do we know this is the right king? He will subdue 3 kings before him.
All right. But you agree though that there's part of a prophecy that's been fulfilled. If part of a prophecy has been fulfilled, has the entire prophecy been fulfilled?
It depends on like if it's one single prophecy. Like if my prophecy is
you said there's part of this prophecy.
I'll get
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I say this is a section of it, I'll give you a hypothetical, a section, right? If I say tomorrow you're gonna win $1 million, and I list a bunch of other things that happen. It's gonna rain outside. Stray cat's gonna come to your door, and 2 out of those 3 things happen. Okay, and it's now 6 p.m. in the evening. You still haven't received your $1 million. Is the prophecy false?
Yes, because the prophecy haven't been fulfilled yet. Until it's fulfilled in full, it's not a prophecy. That's how prophecies work, right? all
Well,
of it
I guess
has
I would disagree because it's
all
like
of it has to be fulfilled. Well, then how? Okay, so then how
three
is
different claims.
how is it a prophecy if it hasn't been fulfilled yet? Well,
Well,
let
because
me
lots of it
qualify that.
have.
How? Okay, but how is it a fulfilled prophecy if it hasn't been fulfilled yet? This is just by your own
It's
admission.
not fulfilled.
It's not fulfilled, so it's not a fulfilled prophecy.
That part hasn't, but
Yeah.
the rest of it was fulfilled.
Okay. And so how do you explain prophecies that have been fulfilled in other religions? Does that make those true?
Those religions true? I don't know. I don't know of any fulfilled prophecies in other
Well,
religions.
you came here saying my God is real because of the fulfilled prophecies. And so
Mhm.
Hindus believe that they have, well, they call them predictions, but we can just call them prophecy if
Mhm.
we want. But they feel that that the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas and all that stuff have a lot of fulfilled predictions. So does that make Hinduism true?
Sure.
Yeah, it does.
If they have fulfilled prophecies, I'd like to see them, but
Well, no, it's
if they're just
okay.
claims, if
Right.
they're claims of fulfilled prophecies,
Okay,
then
so if they're
that doesn't make it true.
claims, that doesn't make it true, right? And
Well, that wouldn't be, yeah.
okay. So
That
what
would
if
be evidence, but it wouldn't.
okay, now what if these claims what if they were just coincidences? Would that make them true?
No.
Okay. And then what if they were kind of reading into things and it wasn't actually like, oh, well, it could mean this, or that. That wouldn't make it true either, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay. And so when you're talking about, because you said that there was a beast with 10 horns and all that. Okay. Well, if this was talking about specifically what?
The angel gives the explanation. He says, he gave me this explanation. The fourth beast is a fourth kingdom.
Mhm.
It'll be different from all the other kingdoms. It'll devour the whole earth, trampling it down, crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who come from this kingdom.
Okay.
After them, another king will arise. So 11
Okay.
kings. Different from
Which,
the other ones. He'll
and
subdue 3 kings.
what was the name of the kingdom that the angel said it was?
He doesn't give the name.
It didn't give the name. So how do we know it's the one that you're about to ascribe it to?
Because Jesus claims that the prophecy in the book of Daniel will be fulfilled in his generation.
Okay.
And if that's the case, then it can only be the Roman Empire.
Okay. In his generation?
Mhm.
In what generation is that? Because the Roman Empire fell like way, way after Jesus died. Like thousands of years after
Yeah.
Jesus died. That was not in Jesus'
Yeah.
generation.
That's true.
Okay. So
But
how does that apply to the Roman Empire then? Because if it was supposed to be in the same generation as Jesus and they didn't fall until thousands of years later, then that can't be the Roman Empire.
well, the Roman Empire converted to Christianity. They worshiped Jesus. They
But they
bowed
didn't
before him.
fall. Converting and falling are two different things, right?
I disagree.
You disagree?
So, for instance, yes.
So you would
if you
so
conquer a kingdom, Mhm. If you conquer a kingdom, let's say, right, and that kingdom recognizes you as king,
Nope.
they weren't destroyed, right? But you conquer them, you subdue them. I would say that kingdom fell,
Okay.
right?
Okay. And so
You know what I mean?
okay, so you're saying because they converted to Christianity, they fell.
Yes.
Okay. And what evidence do you have of that? Like which historians agree with you that the Roman Empire fell when they converted to Christianity?
I don't. That would be like conflating two ideas. Like
How so? Because if they fell, they
it would
fell.
depend on what.
Well, either they fell or they didn't fall. So again, if you're changing definitions, then yeah, of course you can make it into anything you want. Just like the thing we had about me being a king. If I just decide I'm a king, then I'm a king. If you just decide that the Roman Empire fell, then it fell. But we have to verify that that's true, right?
I would put it this way: like Jesus conquered the Roman Empire. Let's put it that way.
Jesus conquered the Roman Empire?
Mhm.
How? He wasn't here. He died.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the
Christianity,
Roman emperors will worship them.
even if I accept that Christianity conquered the Roman Empire, Jesus did not conquer the Roman Empire. He was not here. What army did he lead into Rome?
Well, He's not a worldly king like the disciples were expecting. He's
Well,
a
so you
spiritual king.
say. Yeah, that's the
He's
claim. We don't know that for sure.
well, that's what Jesus claimed. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what he
that's
claimed, but that's a
the
claim is not
gospels claim.
evidence,
Yeah,
right? Claim is not evidence.
you're right. A claim alone is not evidence, but if a claim
Perfect.
precedes uh, a real event, if I say, I don't know, tomorrow a meteor is going to strike Washington D.C. and it happens, that's not even proof I'm a prophet, but it is evidence I'm a prophet. All of a sudden, that claim becomes evidence,
How do we
right?
distinguish that from a lucky guess?
Isolated, I guess you can't, but it is evidence.
Okay, but like if you say
It's also an
if you
incredible
pick
coincidence.
okay, but if you picked all 6 lotto numbers tomorrow, does that make you a prophet,
Mm.
or does that make you lucky?
I would say neither.
Neither.
Well, we can't say with absolute certainty, but we can put probabilities to it. You can say it's extremely unlikely that I just got lucky. Extremely unlikely. You can calculate the probability, like 1 in 10 billion, right?
Yeah,
Or
something like
however
that.
much.
It's a ridiculous number. So does that? But I'm asking you, does that make you a prophet if you guess all 6 lotto numbers correctly, or whatever? How many numbers is it? 8, 6? I don't even know. But so if you
It makes
you
it
just
highly likely. It's evidence. It's not proof.
it's evidence that you're
It's
a
evidence.
prophet.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how would we distinguish it about just that you just hit that 1 in a billion probability? Because you'd agree if you did it a billion times, you would do it at least one time, right? You would guess correct at least one time.
If I did it a billion, well, no. Well, no, that's not. So I took a stats class in college, right? So the way statistics works, it's not. That's sort of like the gambler's fallacy, right? If I let's say I have a 1 in 10 chance of winning roulette, that doesn't mean if I play 10 times, I'm guaranteed to win,
No,
because each
that's not what I
event is
said.
independence,
You would
right? So even if I
you
get
would
a
expect it.
billion,
Yeah, it's 1 in 10, but you would expect it to happen. It's the same thing with flipping a coin, right? You have a 1 in 2 chance, and you're just trying to guess heads every time, right? If you flip the coin 5,000 times, what would you expect the percentage breakdown to be between heads and tails?
yeah, roughly 50%.
Roughly 50%, right? And it's all
Yeah.
yeah, but there's other factors involved, right? Like how high you flip the coin.
Mhm.
If it hits the ceiling by accident one time or something like that. Yeah, it's just there's all these other factors as well. But it's going to be roughly 50%. So if you do it 1 out of 10 times and you and say but that's where the numbers come in. Yeah, you're right. Out of 10, I would not guarantee that I'd hit at least one time. I would expect to, but I wouldn't guarantee it.
Mhm.
However, if you say that 1 in 10 shot, if you do it 10,000 times, you should be pretty close to 100, right? Or what? 1,000,
Yeah.
excuse me, or 10,000. Excuse me, 10,000. My math was off. Yeah, you'd be pretty close to 10,000,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah,
may be
exactly.
99.97 or 10,007, but it's going to be close. Yeah.
Exactly. So imagine someone plays this game at a casino
Mhm.
and they win 99% of the time. Is that evidence they're cheating?
If they're at a casino, not necessarily,
Yeah.
but it would be suspicious. It would be worth
It would be
investigating.
suspicious, right? So it would be evidence that they're cheating.
Yeah, because it's against the odds and it's unexpected. So that would be suspicious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It would be worth looking. I don't know if I would call it evidence. It would just be worth looking into to find evidence. It's something. It's peculiar. If that makes sense. I don't know if that's evidence by
That's
itself.
fine. I'm not really willing to like die on that hill, you know?
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Yeah, and maybe
it's worth
yeah. I
looking into.
I don't intend to split hairs with you. I'm just saying I would. That's how I would say it. Yeah. But okay.
Right. And so
Okay.
that's my entire point, you know? It's
Yeah.
like Jesus made these claims. Claims themselves are not evidence, but then we look at the historical evidence, the historical data, excuse me,
Mhm.
and then I think it is a compelling case.
Okay.
Like, wow, okay, it's not totally fulfilled,
Okay.
but it is still very compelling.
All right. So last 20 seconds before the kick pull. So if
Mhm.
other religions say the same thing, that doesn't necessarily make them true, right? So likewise, that
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily make your claim true.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't consider it proof, but I also consider it highly unlikely that Christianity is false. You know what I mean? And also,
Gotcha.
it's like, are other religions incompatible with Christianity? Like, it depends, because even Hinduism is not a monolith. Like you can't just say Hinduism claims this, because in Hinduism you have multiple religions, multiple philosophical
Sure.
schools. And it's like it's not like it would be incompatible with Christianity to say some of these schools are correct, or maybe even some of these Hindu gods exist, because the Bible doesn't say there are no gods. In fact, it says in Exodus, right, that God judged the other gods of Egypt. So they exist, maybe as demons, maybe as other spirits. So it's like, it would have to be a case by case basis.
Yeah.
And if there is prophecies in other religions that are fulfilled, that is evidence against atheism, I would say, in the very least.
So if I'm hearing you right, and one last thing, we'll do the kick poll. So if I'm hearing you right, when it says something to the effect that there is no God but Allah in Islam,
Mhm.
and you're saying that is congruent with what the Bible says?
Definitely not. I don't see Islam as a real religion.
Okay. And so then how do you don't see it as a real religion, right? And so how do you distinguish then between Islam being not a real religion and Christianity being a real religion? Because the other thing is that they have, what they use is, they say that the Quran is something that is inimitable, right? That it that there are no contradictions in it, which isn't true, but that's what they claim.
Mhm.
There are no contradictions in it.
Well, that's perfect. That's testable, right? You can test that.
Yeah, it is testable, but then they'll take you down all kinds of rabbit holes. I've done this many times with Muslims, you know, and going through the Quran, and they'll have like an explanation for anything. Yet, wouldn't you so what would you say then to somebody who just doesn't see that? Like, they're just having explanations there. It's like cope. They have like a level of cope for things that they're trying to explain away as saying, but that's what this is, even though it doesn't directly point to it.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you there. Like, it's so same thing with the Bible. You can reinterpret it. You can do all these mental gymnastics. I've dialogued with Mormons before who do this as well, and that just comes down to the science of exegesis. You know what exegesis is?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Done that quite a bit.
For the
Yeah.
viewers, it's extracting. Okay, good. Yeah, for the viewers, it's extracting what is the Bible saying? Like, what is it actually saying? And you can use methods to determine it, like more scientifically,
Got
like
it.
the historical critical method, to understand what did this prophecy mean originally to the people who originally heard it, and that can eliminate things like bias or motivated thinking or what have you.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Islam, it's like even the claims are in unimitability, right? The Quran plagiarizes. Even people in the Quran, like the Quran itself says, to Muhammad, you're just a big ear. You just hear things and plagiarize them. And we know where the sources in the Quran come from.
Yeah.
Like from a scholarly point of view, we know where Surah 18 comes from. It comes from the Seven Sleepers of Ephesus by Jacob of Saruk. Muhammad just plagiarized it, but put it in his own words.
Yeah.
So.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to do the kick poll, and so let me just get that started. Okay, so I started the kick poll on the YouTube side, so you guys should be seeing it. And so let's start it on the TikTok side. So happy face to keep the guests, crying face to move on to the next one. We got a full list of guests waiting. So, all right, everybody vote. Yeah, I hear that, and I think honestly, the issue for me is that it is the same. It works out the same thing for me, at least in the Bible. I mean, because I was a Christian for over 30 years. I was going to go into the seminary. I've read the Bible many times, and I just don't think that I don't think Jesus fulfilled any of the 351 prophecies. It just didn't happen, because we can look at several of those and see that they just don't line up, or that there are things in there that are just like very, very general. You can take them so many different ways, So, well, it looks like that they're going to move on to the next guest. So, hey, I appreciate you coming up and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. So, okay. Well, that's... appreciated the respect and politeness. So that was good. It was good talk anyway. All right. So let's look at Yeah, I was gonna do like a Justin type approach, but I had Justin's spreadsheet ready, but I don't think we really ended up not needing it. Okay, let's move on to the next guest. Okay, all right. So this guest has been waiting for quite a while, probably since like right around the beginning. So let's bring this next guest up. Oh boy. Like they're having connection problems. All right. Well, fix your connection issues and then come back. Okay. Next guest. This might be interesting. How's it going?
Going well, brother. How's it going with you?
Doing well. Thanks for waiting and thanks for asking. So, how old are you?
33.
All right. And which God do you believe in?
Christianity, Jesus Christ, the only true God.
Fantastic.
Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen.
All right. And what's your best evidence that this God is real?
The fact that everybody else copies off of it, just kind of intertwining with your last conversation.
Okay. So, and give me an example.
Well, you mentioned Hinduism. The supreme deity in Hinduism is Brahma, or a copy of Abraham. Krishna, who's a copy of Christ, and even parts of the New Testament are copied. And then Islam is Jesus Christ is the word of Allah, right? And the spirit sent from him. And then we go to Judaism, and Judaism says that their God in Barakat 7a.3, my apologies, their God prays to the judging attribute to be merciful. So within the Christian concept, the judge will be Jesus Christ. And even from the atheist perspective, when they go to the Big Bang Theory, that came from the Catholic Church and the Catholic scientists, and it actually was endorsed by the Pope.
So let me ask you a question. Because you said that everything copied Christianity. Every religion has copied Christianity.
Yes, brother. If you know one that didn't, you can let me know.
Okay. How did Hinduism copy Christianity when it's older than Christianity?
Well, currently, the Hindus have been kind of questioning the radiocarbon dating as far as the antiquities of the realness or the timeline of the Vedas and stuff like that. So a lot of the Veda scripts that came out later about their supreme deity, Krishna, have been traced back to 250 AD.
Okay. And what evidence do you have of that?
The actual manuscripts.
Yeah. You said that they've been looking at they've been carbon dating the manuscripts. So what evidence do you have that the manuscripts have been carbon dated to 250 AD?
Well, there was a separate study that I believe they did. I was trying to find the webpage. But
Yeah. Bring it up and we'll go read it together. Yeah.
Well, I said I couldn't find the webpage again.
Okay, because everything I've seen, there's nothing that says that. So that's why I'm asking you.
Why do you believe some of the words within the Vedas were copied or seen to be direct copies from the New Testament? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Okay, so which ones were copied? Directly copied, like word for word copied?
Yeah, almost word for word copied. There's many studies on it online.
Okay.
Check Krishna.
So which Vedas were copied? Yeah, which Vedas were copied?
Well, if you could do a quick search there for all of us, brother, you don't have to trust my word. And see.
Well, no, you're the one. No. Hold on, sir. I asked for evidence. It says up here right above my head, what is your best evidence? And so it's your claim. It's your burden of proof. So you need to provide the evidence. I'm not going to do the work for you. So what is your evidence that the Vedas copied the New Testament?
What is your evidence that it didn't?
Okay. Answering a question with a question. Yeah, I'm not going to play this game.
Well, brother, you don't have to get defensive, right?
I'm not getting defensive. I asked you, you made a claim, and if you're it's not up to me to defeat your claim. It is up to you to defend your claim and provide evidence for your claim. It's not up to me. You're shifting the burden of proof onto me. The burden of proof is yours, sir. So what is your
proof, sir?
Okay, so what is your evidence that the Vedas copied the New Testament?
My main proof is that Brahma, the supreme deity within Hinduism, is a copy of Abraham.
Okay, that's a
And
claim.
Krishna,
I
a
need
copy of
evidence
Christ.
to that's
Where did the
another
names
claim.
come from? Where did the names come from?
That's another claim, sir. So I need evidence of that. You just have to produce evidence. You have to produce a study.
You actually,
You said that there was carbon dating. So what is the study that shows that the carbon dating is to 250 BCE or CE?
you don't require carbon dating for that part.
Okay.
See, the Old Testament was 1500 BC, and therefore it still supersedes the timeline of the Hindu Vedas, which is about 700 BC.
All right. And
So we
what
still
of
know which
okay,
came
so
first.
we're
It's
still
the
we're still looking at the Bhagavad Gita, which is older than the Bible.
that's not true.
That's not
But
true?
what timeline?
Okay.
What timeline?
According to this, the Bhagavad Gita dates back to about 3000 BCE. And that's older than the Bible.
Which Vedas?
I didn't say Vedas, I said the Bhagavad Gita.
As far as I know, the Bhagavad Gita came around like 700 BC.
Okay. And
You're
that's
saying 3000 BC.
and
So
okay.
you're using one source. Is this an official source?
So what is it? Okay. So it is we're just looking at all of these different sites here. So if we look at let's look at this source here. And I'm not even a fucking Hindu. And I'm the one that's correcting this. This is just okay, there we go. The oldest Vedas, the Rig Veda, was composed in 1500 BCE to 1000 BCE. The source is Gavin D. Flood, who is he is a PhD scholar in comparative religion, specializing in Shivism and phenomenology. So this is from a scholar. So, sir, what is your evidence that the Bhagavad Gita is from, and these are Vedas from 1500 BC. So what is your evidence that they are newer? So I gave you my evidence.
So glad you brought that as evidence. I'm so glad you brought that as evidence.
Yeah.
You said 1500 BC to 1000 BC, which still is about 200 or 250 years after the Torah was already in circulation. So that means their concept of Brahma came from the original Genesis. And you have just solidified
The first 5 books of the Tanakh, the Torah, no, it says here the 5th century BCE, the first 5 books of the Torah, the Tanakh, the Jewish Tanakh, the Torah, are compiled. 5th century BCE. So that's
you said compiled.
Yep. The Old Testament canon. Yep. Says it, and I got a source right here. So that says the 5th 5 BCE. So let's see what this source is. Let's see specifically what this says. Yeah. So it is not older. Yeah, that's about what we know. So that's when it was compiled.
You're saying compiled. When was it written? When were the first evidences of these books? Because they're separate. You're saying
well, again, okay, well, I'm the atheist here. You have to bring me evidence that this was the oldest religion, and it's your claim that, because this goes against what all the scholars are saying. So it's your claim that you have to provide evidence for. It's not up to me. It's for you. So you have to provide the evidence, sir, that the Bible is the oldest and everything else copied from it. That is your claim.
Well, all of Jewish documentation backs me.
Okay, well, produce one.
Sure why you're using compiled.
Produce one, sir.
Yeah. Go to the Talmud. Go to Talmud. Go to timeline.
Yeah.
All of Jewish documentation.
Just
back
put
then,
a
as far
put a
as
link in the
when
put a link in the
books were
chat.
first produced.
Go ahead and copy
But
and paste the link in the chat.
in order for me to provide my information and my evidence, I would have to get out of this conversation. So that's why I want to see
Do
when is
you
the
do you
first
want to okay?
reference
Do you want to do that?
to the Genesis itself.
Okay. Do you want to come back with your evidence?
Not for this current conversation.
Not for this
I would rather you
conversation?
give
Okay,
me
so let's
that.
move on to something else.
Not
So what
only-
else what other evidence do you have that God is real?
Well, I went to Islam, we went to Hinduism, and there is a correlation. Whether
Okay,
you want to
yeah,
say which is first, the chicken is the egg.
Yeah,
or the
and
egg.
we're not going to argue that because you don't have any evidence to back up your source, so it's a waste of time to argue that.
But even so, they're still using Christ for
So,
the supreme deity.
okay. So, what was your other evidence?
And parts of the New Testament. And then we can still go to all of the other quote unquote religions out there. Santeria, Voodoo, Hoodoo, all of those are based off of the 6 and 7 books of Moses.
Okay, again, we're not going to
So
talk
as an
about that
atheist-
God sword because you don't have any evidence to back that up. You said that I don't have it here. I'm not going to talk about that. So, what other evidence do you have that God is real?
That would be I saw you disappear with my own eyes. I believe it's I can't remember the writer of the book. But the name of the book is I Saw You Disappear with My Own Eyes, but there's the in-depth study on a lot of these occults back in the days and how they were using the 6 and 7 books of Moses for million dollar loans.
Okay.
But my main
God
evidence is that
sword.
the atheist has no wait 1 second, brother, 1 sentence. My main evidence is that the atheist has no reference for the point of creation other than the Big Bang Theory, which is produced by a Catholic scientist and endorsed by the Pope.
Okay. And so you think that's the start of creation?
It's claimed to be. I don't believe so.
Why do
As far as the-
68% of
the-
why do 68% of
I don't believe-
astrophysicists disagree with you then?
Well, that's the thing. If 68% of astrophysicists disagree with me, but they're referencing the Bible to get their concept of how it happened.
How are they
and
referencing the
biblical
Bible?
scholars on how to get it happen.
How are they
Because it was
referencing?
produced by Catholic priests.
And where in the
endorsed
Bible
by
does
the
it say
Pope.
the Big Bang happened?
The Pope said it intertwined with Genesis.
Where in the Big Bang
Yeah.
does it say it happened? Where does it say Big Bang in the Bible?
In the beginning, there was light, right there in Genesis 1.
Okay.
And that's why the Pope endorsed it.
Okay. And how is that a Big Bang?
How is it not?
Sir, I'm asking you. How is it a Big Bang?
I told you very simply. The whole reason that the Catholic Church endorsed it was because this concept coincided with the concept of the Bible and that God created all things when there was nothing and then it became light.
Okay.
That's how it became the Big Bang.
And again,
Big Bang, the new light.
why do astrophysicists not agree with you?
Well, do they have another reference for the source of creation?
Okay, you're
mean, the
still
astrophysicists-
answering questions with questions. I asked
I'm
you.
asking for the scientific appeal,
Okay,
the scientific explanation.
yeah, but I need you to answer the question. Why do astrophysicists disagree with you?
That's a claim on your part. I don't know any astrophysicist that says they do not believe in the Big Bang Theory.
All right, let me
I've
pull it
never
up.
heard one scientist
Let me
say-
pull
I've
it
never
up
heard
for
one
you.
scientist say that they disagree with the Big Bang Theory, and if they do, they've never postulated an alternate theory to solidify.
Why do they
their
need an
false-
alternate theory?
Are you saying we came from nothing?
I didn't say that.
But then you need an alternate theory.
Okay, why? And they do have alternate
Because if you don't
theories,
know
but
where you came from-
yeah.
But if you don't know where you came from, how do you know where you're going? How do you know the purpose of life? How do you even have the power of word? How does that work?
Yeah. So I'm still not clear on. So the question I asked was, why do you need an alternate theory?
Because you need to be able to understand not only the reason for your creation, the power behind your creation, and if possible, the mind behind your creation, and also the purpose for why your creation. In
Okay.
order to progress,
God
it's
damn
an
it,
old
where
adage
is
in our
the-
community.
where
If
is
you
the
don't know
pinned
where you're from,
message?
you don't know where you're going. So what do they purport to be the source of creation? And do you personally disagree with the Big Bang Catholic theory?
No, I don't. Now so a Catholic did come with the Big Bang Theory. It was affirmed by scientists. And how does that demonstrate that God exists? Because a Catholic discovered it. So are you saying that if a Muslim discovered that the Big Bang Theory was real, then we should be Muslims?
Well, you're running to Islam, but Islam within 1094 and 5.46 of the Quran says that the Torah and the Injil supersede the Quran, and therefore, if you have any doubt,
I don't see how that answers my. I don't see how that answers my question.
Well, I'm telling you, even if you're pointing to Islam, it's still going to point back to Christianity.
I don't see how. I still don't see how that answers my question. What was the answer?
Because the Catholic Church was the one that endorsed it.
Okay.
And they used the reasoning behind the endorsement, and therefore, I also believe the reasoning behind the study was to create the concept of, to say it intertwined with the concept of Genesis, with the book of Genesis.
Okay.
And therefore, you yourself, you're no longer atheist, you're a Catholic Gnostic, at least from my perspective. But can you rule out 100% that there is no creator as far as this intelligent, quote unquote, design we have here?
Okay. I cannot rule it out. 100% that there's a creator? No, I can't rule it out 100%. That doesn't make it true. How does that make it true?
But that would make you a agnostic, right?
I'm an agnostic atheist.
That's a contradiction of terms or
How so?
oxymoron.
How so?
Because an atheist claims that there is no God.
Nope, that's not true.
Right? So therefore, they're speaking from a stance of science and to quote.
All right,
unquote,
let's
no,
go look up the definition. So what you're saying is if we looked up the definition right now of atheist, you're saying that it would say atheist states there is no God. That's what you're saying?
Well, I've never met an atheist other than yourself that said there is a God, but continue.
That's not what I asked. I asked if we look up the definition of atheist, are you saying that it will state an atheist claims there is no God?
Well, tell you what, I'll give you a reference for it. Churchofsatan.com, frequently asked questions. It says that all atheists are not atheists, are atheists, but that doesn't mean that all atheists are essenists. It's in the frequently asked questions.
Okay.
So why do you believe, or why do you think that they would affiliate themselves with your ideology of how you're an atheist, when we're seeing that atheist agnosticism are two totally different things?
You're ducking my question.
To make your framework.
I have a feeling you don't want.
I'll give you the definition to help you.
Yeah, I don't think you want an honest dialogue here because you keep ducking my questions. So my question to you, sir, was if we look up the definition of atheist, will it say a person who says there is no God? What will it say?
I'm not sure, but I look forward to pulling up the definition.
Let's look at the definition then. Okay, so you should see it covering my face, but I might have to fix it a little bit here. Yeah, I have to fix it. Okay. All right. Let me close TikTok, YouTube chat for a moment. Okay. Do you see that on my screen? It's a little cut off. Hold on. Let me move it around. Okay. What does that say? Atheist, a person who disbelieves in the existence of God or gods. Doesn't say a person who says there is no God.
Well, you saying that you
it's disbelief.
It's
God. Yeah. I'm not saying there is no God. It says I don't believe there is a God. What's the difference between saying there is no God and saying a disbelief? Yeah. So it's not an oxymoron. It's not a contradiction. So I'm an agnostic atheist. It says atheism just means disbelief. So agnostics are technically atheists because they don't believe, if they don't believe in the existence of a God. If they say they don't know, they don't believe that there's a God. Now, I just say I'm an agnostic atheist, which means I don't believe, I don't know there's a God, I don't believe there's a God. So that's all it is. It's just a belief statement. That's all it is. So
agnostics actually believe that there is a God, but they don't know the nature of God.
Not true.
That's the agnostic standpoint.
Oh boy. Okay.
But the atheist standpoint is, to say you disbelieve, and just to deal with your argument right here, they disbelieve in a God or God.
All right. So let's look at a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or anything beyond material phenomena. A person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. So again, that doesn't say it doesn't say that they believe that there's a God. They don't know what the nature is. It just means they don't know. That's all it means.
1 second, brother. The atheist description said the atheist disbelieves in God.
Yep.
The agnostic says they can't claim that they disbelieve in God. They
Yep.
don't claim that.
But that
So
again
that's a
flies.
contradiction of terms.
That's not a contradiction of terms. No. That's not true. Hopefully this doesn't get me all right. Let's see. Yeah. The atheist
That
community
will
Austin.
get you kicked out the club, man.
I don't think it will. Okay. So it's just definitely all it means is just a lack of belief in God. That's all it means. So that's all what atheism means.
They believe in God, but the agnostic says they're not claiming that. They don't claim that.
Which
So
is
to say
fine.
you're atheist and agnostic at the same time is a contradiction of terms.
At the same
That's why I
time,
said you're agnostic, not atheist, just to define terms.
I'm an agnostic atheist.
Can you say that there is no God 100%?
Nope. I'm about 98% sure there's no God. So,
So you have a 2% belief in God.
nope, it's doubt. So I'm 98% doubtful that God exists, that any gods exist. So it's not a
God
belief
is the
in God.
creator of all things, right? So how did life come into existence?
I don't grant that. I disagree with that. We have evidence that abiogenesis is what went from non-life to life. We also have evidence that evolution occurred on this earth. So that's how that's the evidence that we have.
Genesis.
Yeah. What evidence do you have that God created everything?
Well, intelligent design, and not only that, the scientists have used concepts or the name or the title of the book of Genesis in order to create their own concept. Of
How do you know
life
that
started.
it's how do you know
So
that
whatever
it's
you say
intelligent
is
design?
abiogenesis.
I mean, that's
Well,
another claim. How do you know it's
how-
intelligent design?
Most animals have a non-chaotic pattern, right? Does
I
your
don't know.
family
I don't know
dog
what
give
that
you-
means. And that's not, and I would say that's not true.
Are you saying that the design of our world is not intelligent?
I'm saying the world we don't have any evidence it was designed. So that's why I'm asking you, what is your evidence that there is intelligent design?
Well, we not only have a quote unquote circle of life, but we also have a working ecosystem, which is fairly, I guess you can fairly much premeditate what's going to happen on a regular basis to the point whereby you're getting rain, snow, etc. So it must point to an intelligent design because we can study it. Scientists study this. It's called meteorology and stuff like that.
Okay. How long does it take for us to how long can we survive without water? In any organism. Like any organism. Not plants, but animals, any animal.
It depends, but usually for humans it's about
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, it's 3 days.
I
It's
think
just
that's
about
a
any.
question.
It's just about any animal here. Okay, so 3 days without the max we can go with water. How much water is on our Earth? How much? What percentage of water is comprised of the Earth? That the water's. I can't speak. What percentage is the Earth comprised of that contains water?
71% of our surface has
About
water.
70%. Out of that water, out of that 71%, what percentage is drinkable?
Well, all of it is drinkable depending on how you procure it. You can
Okay.
even drink salt water if you know how to distill it.
Okay.
Right?
Can animals distill salt water like apes and giraffes and elephants and
No, and that's why apes and those kind of animals are found near areas where you have fresh water.
yeah. So
now this is
okay, hold
this is
on,
a great
hold
line
on.
of questioning.
Yeah. So if apes and and giraffes and lions and all them can't distill water, they have to be in an area of fresh water. For them, how much of the water on Earth can they drink? What percentage?
I'm not sure.
It's less than 1%. It's like 1/100 of 1%. So why would an intelligent designer?
One second.
Why would an
One
intelligent?
second, bro.
Why
would you say that?
It's 1/100 of 1%. We're talking about clean water that isn't disease. It's the fresh water. It's less than 1/10 of 1% that's available to drink for animals that can't distill their own water. And technically, we can't do it either. It's too expensive for us to do it.
Are you including rivers, lakes,
Yeah, rivers,
base,
lakes, ponds,
water plates, water
water.
basins?
Yep, everything. Melted snow, all that. It's less than 1/10 of 1%. You can look it up. It's easy. It's easy to find. So my question to you is, why would an intelligent designer fill the earth with 70% water and make less than 1/10 of 1% drinkable for animals who have no ability to distill it into something fresh?
Well, I think you're missing the point that most of the animals that we find on this earth are fish or aquatic animals.
Okay.
So even though
But there's a
the
lot of them
animals
who
that you're
aren't.
speaking about,
I'm
look,
asking
can I
about there's a
once
lot of animals who
that's
aren't,
the,
and
that's
I'm
the
asking
intelligent
you,
design part,
yeah, but I'm asking you, why
right?
would these animals not have the ability to drink salt water? Why would an intelligent designer do that? What's
Well,
intelligent
it seems
what's
to me
intelligent about that?
the intelligent designer provided for both types of animals. And
Okay.
therefore, it seems you have a problem with the myriad of animals that we have as far as aquatic as well as
So are you
land-based.
telling me
Do
that
you have a
less
problem
than
with
1/10 of
land-based? Because
1% of all
land-based,
animals live
wait,
on land?
1 second, brother. Are you having a problem with the land-based animals themselves having access to fresh water on the land? Because that's what's happening, right? And how is that not intelligent design?
The reason why is because we have droughts on the land, and we have fossil records of animals dying due to droughts. And so why would an intelligent designer put less than 1/10 of 1% of available fresh drinking water for animals on land when not less than 1/10 of 1% of all animals live on the land? That would mean that, because according to what you're saying, then over 99.9% of all animals live in the ocean, and that's not true. So we have, the percentage is much bigger than that. So why would an intelligent designer have the percentages and proportions skewed that way, so that the land animals would have to rely on rain and snow to get their fresh water, and that there are shortages of rain and snow, droughts? So then, and we have demonstrated evidence of animals dying because of droughts. So why would an intelligent designer design a world that way?
The entire population of the animal hasn't died off. Some may
Why does it
die
have to
by
die
drought.
off? Yeah. So
Okay,
why?
this is the interesting thing, though, brother. Everything that you're pointing to is insinuating an extremely intelligent design, not even just an intelligent design. Because not only are the land-based animals having access to fresh water, but also you have sea-based animals on 71% of the earth having access to seawater. And then on top of that, you cannot show me another planet that has water on its surface to even insinuate that another planet even exists in the same way that Earth exists.
Is your
And
God all
therefore,
powerful?
everything you point to is intelligent. Wait, brother. Where's the other planet with water?
Okay. There's not one that we know of. So back to my question back to you.
So therefore, is the Earth unique? And therefore, does that also demonstrate intelligent design?
No. And so here's my question back to you. Is God?
1 second. How does that not?
Hold on.
Is that not intelligent design?
I answered your question. It's my
Out of
turn.
all
My
the
turn to
planets.
answer. My turn. Your turn to answer my question. I answer your question. So
But you just said the no.
yeah.
But you're not substantiating it.
No.
Substantiate it.
There's no bearing on intelligent design, because again, you haven't answered why. You haven't answered sufficiently why a designer would put 99.99% of undrinkable water for animals on land when they are more than 1/10 of 1% of all the population of animals on the earth. You haven't answered that question. And why are they susceptible to droughts? And they have no control over that. So why would an intelligent God do that? Now, you said, well, it's maybe not the most intelligent God, but is your God all knowing?
Well, I think you're still running from the fact that all these things you're saying.
I'm not running from the fact. I'm trying to get an answer to my question. Is your God all knowing?
Yes, my God is all knowing, and that's why
your God
there's
is
no
all
other
knowing.
planet that you
Okay.
can point at.
So
Wait, brother.
did your God know
1 second.
through, hold on, I got a follow-up
Why are you
question.
gish-galloping?
Is your God,
Why are you gish-galloping?
did your God no, I'm not gish galloping. I'm asking you questions. And if you would just let me answer my questions, we can get through this.
Next, because you seem scared. You've never really addressed.
There's
how
no
you're saying that you
there's
don't
no
believe
fear
in
here.
intelligence.
There's absolutely no fear here.
No
There's
other planet
absolutely no
has
fear.
water on it.
There's
And the
no,
Earth is unique.
we
How
don't
is it
know
not
what other
intelligent?
planets have water because we can't travel to them. What is the nearest star from here,
Use
God's
your
sword?
imagination.
God's sword,
So
what is
therefore, the
God's
concept
sword?
of
What is
water
the
or
nearest
earth,
star from here?
I'm not sure, brother. I can't go there myself.
4.3 light
Anything I
years
say
away,
is
which how long will it take to travel to that star?
Wait, can you prove that? That's a
Yes.
deferral to authority. How do you
Yes.
prove it?
It's not a deferral to authority when you use those who are trained in the sciences. That's not an appeal to authority.
Literally called a deferral to authority.
Okay. So it's not an appeal to authority in the way that you're saying. It's not a fallacy.
In the same way
Okay.
that you couldn't define the
Then I'll pose the same dumb question you asked to me.
can't
How do you know
define
there's not a star 4.3 light years away? What is your evidence that there's not a star 4.3 light years? You see how this works? You see how silly this gets when you start asking questions like that?
I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what it is exactly, and therefore I won't postulate what it is.
Okay.
I won't make
So
up what it
we
is.
have
I won't
evidence that
imagine
there's
what
a
it
star.
is.
There's a star 4.3 light years away from here. We have evidence of that. Okay.
What is a star?
It's Proxima Centauri. It's 4.3 light years away from here.
Star. Can you define a star? What is a star made of?
A star is made of? You don't know what a star is?
No, I don't. What is
And
a
why
star?
do
What is
I
a
have
star
to
made of?
define what a star is?
You're saying you can get to this star. You have to know what the star is before you even get
Okay.
there, right? What is it?
Okay. Why do I have to define it? What's the relevance of that?
Well, it seems to me that the atheist usually speaks from ignorance and claims that it's intelligence. And
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Is
whether you
this
know what you're
okay?
talking about.
A star is a sun. Do we have a sun in our sky?
Yes, we do have a sun, but how can you say that the star is the same as the sun?
Because it has the same composition.
How do you know that? Who's been to the sun? I heard they had probes, but they can't really prove it. That's also a deferral to authority. How do you know? Have we?
So are you
replicated
saying
the
there's no
sun?
sun in the sky?
No, I said there's a sun.
There's
but
a
I'm saying
sun.
you
How do you
can't
know
say
it's a
what the sun
sun?
is made of. We can see it every day. That's
Okay.
observational
How do you know
reality.
it's a sun?
How do you know what it's made of?
I asked you, how do you know it's a sun?
Sun is the linguistic term to define what we see every morning.
Okay.
What comes up every morning as far as the sun in the sky.
And how do you know
How do
that's
you know
how
what
do you
it's made of?
how we know it's made of is we have sent things close enough to it to trace its composition, and we have measured chemicals coming away from that, and we can see that visually. So then when we use a telescope to look at another sun and it has the similar things, we can deduce, okay, that might be a star too, like our sun. That might be a sun as well. So my question back to you, how do you know that the sun in the sky is the sun?
That's a linguistic question. I already answered that. But
Okay.
for the most part,
How did you
so
what
the sun
method did you
is
use to
one second,
verify that
one
it's the
second.
sun?
Can I respond to you?
What
Can I respond
what
to you?
method did you
You're
use?
saying that the sun is the same as a star.
I have the next
That's what
question.
you're
What
listening.
method did you use to
Then you're saying,
verify the sun is what method did you use to verify that the sun is in the sky?
I said the sun is a linguistic term,
Yeah, and I'm asking you,
right?
what method did
Right.
you
So
use
to
to
understand what
verify
is
the sun is in the
I don't have
sky?
to verify the linguistic term.
You
The
don't have
sun.
to verify
I don't
linguistic
have to
terms?
verify the linguistic term.
Okay.
No, because we all know what the sun is. But what you're doing is trying to say the sun is the same as a star. They're equivalent. And therefore, you're making them another contradiction of
That
terms,
it's
similar to
another
the atheist
contradiction of
agnostic.
terms. This is
Yeah,
wild.
because
Okay.
you can't prove it.
All
You
right.
can't prove
We're
it.
going to
Can
do
we
the
replicate a sun?
All right, we're
Let
going to
me.
do
Can
the
we
we're
replicate
going
the
to do
sun
the
on
kick
Earth
poll.
scientifically?
We're going to do the kick poll. So, I've kind of had enough of this conversation. It's
Well, you're running because I know you can't answer the question.
it's not
You can't
running.
show how you make it, son,
It's
and
not
therefore you don't know what you're talking
Okay.
about. And
What was the how
is
did
exposed,
Okay, hold on. If that's the case, then how did God make existence? Show me the exact steps that he did to make existence.
well, just go to the Bible, Genesis
What did he
1:1.
use to
In the
make it?
beginning,
What did he use to make
His
light?
word.
What did he use to make
His
light?
word.
His word. And how does
His
that
word.
work? How
Yeah.
does show me the steps and how his word speaks things into his word makes things.
Well, this is the interesting thing. If you
Oh,
can't
you're
figure out
ducking,
what
you're ducking, you're running from me. See, you're running away from me. No, don't run, brother.
it's right
Don't
there
run,
beside
brother.
you.
Just answer
I'm
the
not running
question.
from
Nope,
you.
answer the
I'm not
question.
running from you.
How does
But
how does
you're
speaking
asking for
things
something that's
what
above your
is
pay
the
grade.
what is the
That's my problem.
what is the steps
You can't even
required
understand what
to
the sun is.
Okay. So you can't so what you're saying then is that it's above my pay grade to demonstrate what a sun is, but it's within your pay grade to know that God spoke things into existence?
Well, it's right
So
there in
you
the
have a
Bible.
double
It's written.
Well, if
standard.
I'm referring Okay, then tell me the mechanism that God used to speak things into existence. How exactly did that work? What's the mechanism behind it?
Well,
This is like you saying, this is like you saying, this is like what it's saying. This is like you telling me, hey, I drove in a car to get here, and I ask you, then how does the car work? You should know that the car works, right? You should know how the car works on a basic level. So that's what I'm asking you. How did God, on a basic level, speak something into existence? Tell me the steps.
Didn't you appeal to the Muslim? Didn't you appeal to the Muslim?
Now you're
perspective?
ducking me. Yeah, you're dodging me. Now you're dodging me. Yeah, you're not a you're not a you're not a very honest interlocutor. No, you're running. I just asked you a question and you're not answering the question. You're ducking me. You're ducking me.
No,
So,
when I tried responding to you,
all right.
you repeated over me.
Yeah, you're
You
ducking me.
spoke over me. You're
So,
running.
we're doing the kick
So
pull.
it's kind of obvious that if you have
There's
no
nothing
other
you're not
concept
I'm
of
not running
creation
from you at
than
all.
that of the Catholic
Okay.
Big Bang theory, then you yourself are a Catholic.
You
Gnostic, and
you
you're
already
not in
repeated that,
Christ.
and that is a
According to
horrible
the Church
talking
of
point.
Satan, according to the Church of Satan, you will be one of their members,
Okay.
right?
I'm not
It's in the
part of
frequently
I'm
asked
not a member
questions.
I'm not a
Yeah,
member of
yeah,
the Church of
yeah,
Satan.
yeah. How do I know that?
And why would that matter?
Because if you were, you would be a liar, right?
And so why would that matter? So
So
what?
why is it that you cannot explain creation or show us an evidence of how creation works
You
yourself?
can't explain
You're
creation
asking
either.
me to
You can't
explain.
explain it either.
I have
And I
the
don't
Bible.
need to explain
I have
creation.
4,000 years behind me.
I just and I did answer your question. I said abiogenesis. That's how we know creation started. That's the evidence we have. You don't have any evidence that God spoke anything into creation. Yeah, you just and how do you know Genesis is true? How do you know Genesis is true?
Well, that's what you just said. You
How
just
do you
said
know?
you went to Genesis.
How do you
Wait,
know?
bro, you said
No, no,
the
no, no,
whole
no.
world
You
created
said
through
I said you went to Genesis. You're not even paying attention to me. How do you know that Genesis is true?
because even the scientists have to refer to Genesis to understand how the world was created.
In what
Even when
way?
you go to the concept of DNA, even when you go to the concept of DNA, they have letters on the DNA, right? Doesn't it say Yahweh according to the
No,
scientists?
it doesn't say
So
Yahweh on
whenever we
on
yeah, yeah, it
DNA.
does.
It
So
doesn't say that.
whenever we
That's just
go
ridiculous.
whenever we go to yeah, it does.
It doesn't say that where.
Whenever we go to the scientific
It says
listen. See, I
ATCG.
think
ATCG is Yahweh? How is that Yahweh? ATCG?
we're trying to go to the Gattaca thing, but they already did the thing where it said it was Yahweh. So
ATCG.
which scientists do we believe now? You don't believe the scientists?
Which scientists are you referring to? Give me a paper, a
I
published
can pull
paper.
it up.
Oh, that's right. You don't have any evidence. That's right. All right. Well,
Well, you can pull it
it's
up.
been fun. And why don't you do this, God's word?
It has been fun.
Bring me
I enjoyed cooking.
bring me evidence.
God bless you.
You didn't cook anybody. Bring me evidence that the
I roasted you like a pig.
no, you
Oh
didn't.
Lord, on the spit.
You did not
You didn't
roast
even
me.
know where the world
You
came
didn't
from.
roast me at
What's a
all.
woman?
You didn't roast
What's a
me at
woman?
all.
What's a woman?
You didn't roast
What
me
is
at
a
all.
woman?
So,
Do you know what a woman is?
okay.
Wait,
Yeah, I
wait,
know.
just my quick question. What's a woman?
Yeah, I know what a woman is.
You can define a woman. What's a woman?
Yep.
Where did I get my reference for your definition of a woman? I mean, it's fun. I'm enjoying this.
Okay.
How do you know what a woman is?
It's
Define
an
a woman.
adult female human being. So, okay, let me ask you this question. Yeah, you've lost the poll badly, but I'm going to ask you this question before I got to go pick up my daughter. So, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Tangi Brown Jackson.
Okay, let me ask you a question. All right, let me ask you. We're veering way off. This isn't about Ketanji Brown Jackson. Okay, I don't see where you see Ketanji.
Jackson response.
I
That's
don't
a very
see.
Ketanji
I don't see where you see Ketanji Brown Jackson anywhere in here. So my question to you is, is God all good?
Yes, brother. God is
God
good
is
at all
God is all
times.
good? Okay. Is everything God does and says is good?
Amen, brother. Yes.
Yes? Okay. Is grape good?
Well, God said
Oh my
you're
God.
supposed to
Well,
do things,
so in some
but they didn't do it, right? Wait.
okay.
Did they do it? Did they do it? Was it
Wow.
done?
Wow.
Wait. Was it done?
I asked you a question. Yes or no? Is grape
I'm
good?
just asking you, was it done?
Yes
Was
or
it done?
no? Is grape good?
No,
Yes.
brother.
It's
But
it's
even
an easy
by
yes or no question.
you
Yes
know
or
what?
no? Grape is good. Do you
No,
find
brother.
do you
And you know
find
what's
people
great
cover their
about it?
drinks around you, sir? Do you
Wait,
find that
1
women
second.
cover their drinks around you? I would not be surprised.
No. I said no, it's not good. But you know what's great
Okay,
about that? The fact that you reference
grape
that.
is not good.
Wait,
Okay.
1 second.
So,
1 second.
let's go look at some scripture. Since you want to talk about
Well,
scripture with
I
me?
think the fact that you brought it up was great because you know why within the scripture they say you're not supposed to do that. You're actually supposed to cut off the woman's hair and let her mourn her family for a month.
All
If
right.
she wants to stay with you, she
Let
can
me
stay
ask you a
with you. If
question.
not, she could be out there.
Do you have a
So,
significant other?
is that great?
Do you have a significant other?
I'm not trying to date you, brother. I'm very straight.
Okay. No.
What happened to me?
I'm married.
No,
I'm married.
actually,
My
for
wife
me.
is I'm happy with my wife. I'm asking you if you have a significant other. Well, it doesn't matter. If your significant other cheated on you, under what circumstance would it be appropriate to have you graped to punish your significant other?
You know what? In this situation, when
If
I'm dealing
your
with these women,
significant
I
other
take
cheated
my
on you,
context.
under what
Provide your
circumstance would it
evidence.
be
Provide your
appropriate
evidence. It's
for
not
your
me, the
significant
conversation.
other, for you to be graped if your significant other cheated
Provide
on
your
you?
evidence. Provide your evidence
If
because you haven't provided anything else, right?
if you
Provide your evidence.
under what circumstance is it appropriate? You're ducking my question because you're
Provide your
terrified.
evidence. You're just repeating
You're
yourself. No, I'm
terrified.
not terrified.
Oh,
I
you're
said provide
scared.
your
You're
evidence.
scared. Don't be scared. This will be
I'm
easy,
good.
man.
I'm
This will
good,
be
brother.
easy.
I said provide your evidence so that I can see the verses you're speaking
Nope.
about. And therefore, because
I
I already
will
know usually what you're talking about, let me just steel man the argument instead
answer
of
the
trying to play
answer the
around and
question.
snake around with
That's all
you.
you got to do is answer the
No, you
question.
answer the question. Ask your question. Ask your question.
Answer the question. Under what circumstance is it appropriate to have you graped when your wife or your significant other cheats on you to punish your significant other? All right, I'm going to
When you
invite
live
you.
in an atheist Marxist state. Thank you. Go ahead.
Under what circumstance is it appropriate to have you graped if your significant other cheats on you to punish your significant other?
Pull up the verse, bro. Why are you so scared?
Under what circumstance is it appropriate? I'm not going to pull it up until you answer the question.
Pull up the
Answer
verse,
the
bro. Why are
question.
you scared?
Tell me the circumstance that
No, brother,
that
you're
it's
trying to
appropriate.
you're trying to make me answer before I see your evidence. Bring your evidence. Come, let's go.
Well,
Why are you scared?
this has nothing to do with the Bible. I'm asking you under
You are
what
the Catholic
circumstance
Gnostic. I know you Catholic Gnostics, y'all love the
is
Bible.
it
Let
under
me
what
see what you're
circumstance
speaking about.
under what okay, he's scared. He's scared. You're just terrified. You were so scared.
I'm not scared at
You
all.
were
I said
scared.
bring your evidence.
You were scared.
But why don't you
Okay.
bring the verse?
You
Why
said
don't
you
you
already
bring the
know what
verse?
I'm going to say. So what am I going to say?
Well, I want to see it.
You're a
I
mind
want
reader,
to see
right?
exactly.
You're a mind reader, right? So, well, why don't you pray to your God and find out what it is? Otherwise,
But why don't you just
I ain't
see
doing
what it
shit
is?
until you
Otherwise,
answer the
you're acting
question.
like a
I ain't
coward.
doing a goddamn thing until you
You're
answer the
acting like a
question.
coward.
No,
Because
you're
of the
acting
fact
like
that
the
you know
coward.
that you yourself,
You're
you know
acting
you're a
like the
coward,
coward
brother.
because you
You're a
don't
coward.
you want me no,
Because
because
when
you
I
can't
asked
answer the
something straight,
question
I said
because
it to
here's
you
the thing.
straightforward that you're a
Okay,
Catholic
is
Gnostic,
it
and you looked it up
if you
live.
were
You saw that you were a
if
Catholic Gnostic,
okay,
and then
here's
you
the thing,
saw
God's
Friday
word.
Hootenanny. Then you saw
If you were graped for your
scripturesity.com. You were a
significant
Satanite.
other's cheating, is that right or wrong? Yes or no? I'll make it easy for you. If you were graped for your significant other's cheating, is that right or wrong? It's an easy
People are
question.
stupid for that.
If you were graped
People are
for
stupid
your
for that.
significant other's cheating, is that right or wrong?
Is that what the verse says?
If
Read
you
the
were
verse.
graped for your significant
Show
other's
me the verse.
cheating,
Show me
is
the
that right or wrong?
Bible.
See, this is
Show me the
crazy.
Bible reference.
This is crazy. You
No, I think
you can't
what's
even answer the
happening is
question.
you're
All
trying
right, I'm done with
to.
you.
No, I'm right here. I got my KJ.
Yeah, I'm done with you. You can't answer. You are you're dodging so hard. You're so scared. So scared. This is what I'm talking about. Man, you're so scared. I ain't scared of you. I do this all the time. I do this every day, and I cook people like you all day and night. I was going to eat good too, but it's time for me to go. So, to my mods, I'm hoping that you'll just come up. You guys see me do this every day. So, this wasn't even going to be a contest. Now, the next time you come up on my live, God's Sword, I'm going to ask you that question every time you come up into my live. And if you don't answer the question, I'm just going to drop you. So you can play this game with me all you want, but that is the question that is going to be posed to you every time you come into my live. Every fucking time. So just know that. So you can come into my live as often as you want, but I'm just going to ask you the same exact question since you refuse to answer it. And it's not going to change. So I'm going to stay motherfucking linear on your ass. And I'm going to be a fucking surgeon on you. So that is the question that's posed to you. In what circumstance is it appropriate to have you graped if your significant other cheats on you in order to punish your significant other? That's the question. Hello, Amber. Can't hear you.
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
I was typing.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So we finally got you up. I know you had like
yes. Oh my goodness. I restarted my whole phone.
God damn. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening.
That is crazy.
Apparently every time I come up on panel, I'm just going to need to shut it down.
Crazy. Yeah.
Start it again.
God. Well, I'm hoping God's Sword comes back because, oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy it.
That was a lot. It's just difficult because it feels like he doesn't listen at all.
No,
like
he was here to preach.
You're talking to a wall.
Yeah.
He has no evidence. He has no actual reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And what it is just talking over people and then saying, I cooked you. No, you didn't do shit. You didn't answer hardly any questions. He didn't answer a single question.
Like you burned the water. That's what you did.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You pushed too hard
to
cook.
Exactly. So anyway, everybody, please help me thank Ethereal Ember and my other mod, Pseudo V Science and Rainbow Ash and Marduk and Blaster Master 80. So they're all on YouTube, but I have Ember here. They're here for TikTok. So please, everyone, take some moments to throw W's, any gifts, anything to show our appreciation because they're doing all the hard work. I'm just up here just talking. So big W's. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're super appreciated. So do we have anybody we can raid? Anybody know? Let's see. Who do we have? Anybody we can raid? We have Dark Knight. Let's go raid Dark Knight. Everybody know who that is? DARKNYT. Yeah. Dark Knight. So if you type Dark Knight in your search, I don't think Dark Knight's on TikTok only. So let's see if we can find somebody on YouTube to appease our YouTube crowd. See who we can find. I think Deconstruction Junction. Who's over there? Let's see if they're streaming anybody over there. They are not. So let's take a quick look. Let's see who is live right now. Doesn't look like anybody. Oh, well, Justin's live. So we can raid Justin on the YouTube side. So that's not hard for you guys. That'll be easy. So we can raid Justin on the YouTube side, and then we'll raid Dark Knight on the TikTok side. We'll split it up this time. So we'll do it like that. So let's do Dark Knight, DARKNYT, and you guys know what to do. Just pop in, say TBV Raid, and then same thing with Justin, Deconstruction Zone on the YouTube side. Just pop in, say TBV Raid, and we're gonna support our creators that way. I know Justin is a huge creator, but hey, anything, we just do what we can for folks. So, all right, I do have to go. So I thank you all for hanging out with me, and I appreciate it. You guys have been great. It was fun today. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Godsword, I ain't running from shit. Like I said, you can come back tomorrow, but I have one question for you, and you're going to answer that question. So if you don't answer it, I'm just going to drop you. That's it. So come on back tomorrow. Hope you'll have the answer for me.
As someone who was in the chat, Godsword, first of all, calling him Chicken Boy, that's totally unnecessary. And also, as someone who is in the chat, it's impossible to follow your line of logic. You are not answering any of his questions. So please, for even the sake of the chat, so we can understand you,
just answer the damn questions.
Just answer the questions.
Answer the fucking question. And also reflect on Colossians 3:12. And if your comments are in line with that. So, because actually, that's going to be my first question to you. Is your behavior in line with Colossians 3:12? And if you don't have an answer for me, then you get dropped. And then the second question you have is it okay for you to get raped if your significant other cheats on you? So those are you're going to be asked those two questions in perpetuity until you fucking answer them. It's the way it's going to be. So, all right. Well, with that, have a good night, everybody. And I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Take care.